What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 14 MHA, Chapter 326. The sixth base point of the Iron and Steel Alliance is destroyed. Bitcoin Bank. A young millionaire explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. I don't want to say the same thing again. Chi Feng walked slowly towards Vicky's. The reason why he dared to directly trouble the Iron and Steel League was because he was not afraid of machinery or the like. Shinos suddenly sat on the ground. The energy released by Chi Feng just now was very powerful. This kind of energy can make her directly scrapped. Fortunately, the master seems to have taken care of it, so now he is just a little uncomfortable. Chi Feng came to Vicky's and raised his hand to pick it up. Vicky's knew that everything about the machine in the Iron and Steel League was finished, and unexpectedly provoked such a ruthless man. Thousands of killing machines were destroyed in an instant, once. You know that these thousands of killing machines can push down the entire country of Vanada, but if they don't, they will be gone. Unless the Iron Alliance gives the bargaining chip Underworld Legend once, or kills Underworld Legend at all costs, there are only two possibilities. Vicia, what else do you want to say? Chi Feng asked, looking at Vicky's blue eyes. After spitting out a few mouthfuls of transparent liquid, Wiki said, I'm just a machine, just some data. Although I don't want to die, it seems that death is not a big deal. My data will still be stored in the Iron Alliance. You killed it, it's just me in reality. If that's the case, then go to death. Chi Feng's hand squeezed Vicky's head, and directly squeezed it with uplick. Then he smashed Vicky's with one foot, even if this base of the Iron Alliance was directly uprooted. Sinos, take a look at what valuable things are here, if not, I will destroy it. Chi Feng thinks that this stronghold must be more than this big, it may only be part of it. Shinos stood up after a short rest. Without Wiki's manipulation, it had become a land of no owner, so she was able to penetrate into this place and know all the information soon. 10 minutes later, Senos had fully understood what was in this sixth stronghold. The capital chain here was huge, and there was also a treasury, which contained about 100 million Mijin and many E-type reagents. It is roughly estimated that there are about 50 tubes, and I don't know the use of these E-type reagents in the sixth base. After telling Chi Feng these things, Chi Feng's eyes almost burst out, FK'd, I'm rich. Chi Feng is very excited. The 100 million Mijin is the next best thing. The 50 tubes of E-type reagents are real, and can directly increase his strength. Chi Feng can't even imagine that he would use these 50 tubes of E-type reagents. How powerful will become. Chi Feng and Shinos began to get busy, and the two divided their labor evenly. It took an hour to take away all the things that could be taken from the sixth stronghold of the Iron and Steel League. What's left is some broken machines and various data. Chi Feng asked Shinos to leave here first. Although the soldiers outside said that there was a regiment of troops, Shinos said there was no problem at all. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. After Chi Feng saw that when North took the elevator up, he directly shouted, Thunder God is coming again. The bright blue light lit up, and the surrounding space was filled with violent thunder and lightning. Chi Feng took both hands and said firmly with his eyes, thousands of thunders are destroyed. In an instant, thunder and lightning. Chi Feng is like a nuclear bomb, triggering thousands of thunder and lightning. Anything hit is directly dissolved and collapsed, leaving nothing left to be smashed. 10 minutes later, Chi Feng was exhausted, and the squeezing sensation around him quickly appeared. The gap was opened, and the seawater rushed in instantly. Like a flash of lightning, Chi Feng tore open the elevator door and rushed out from the bottom. Boom boom boom. The roar sounded constantly, the military base suddenly began to collapse, the seawater rushed up directly from the bottom, and the waves broke all the buildings. Chi Feng took Shinos while he was fighting, and disappeared at the end of the city directly into a flash of light. The military base was directly destroyed, and a radius of tens of thousands of meters became a hollow, and the sea continued to rush upwards, as if the country was going to be destroyed. But Chi Feng knows that this country will still exist, but the foundation of the Iron Alliance has been completely uprooted by him. He was carrying a purple long stick behind his back, and the person's left hand was missing a little finger. Because Yin's is so powerful, basically everyone who has seen him shot is dead. Yin's, why are you here? Chief Fu smiled and looked at this middle-aged man named Yin's, as if he was not like him who was angry at breaking the cup just now. To see the youth speak, the anger in his heart was slightly lessened. It was true that they had not thought about the incident this time, and there was only one Vicus in charge. Yindi, do you have any suggestions? Chief Fu asked, looking at the silver-haired young man. The middle-aged man was dressed in blue and green clothes and only a pair of cloth shoes under his feet. There was a scar on his left eye. That eye seemed to be blind, but his right eye was piercing. The voice fell, and a young man with silver hair came over. There was a golden moon mark on the center of his eyebrows. He was wearing a white windbreaker and looked younger than 30. This Chi Feng has offended too many powerful people, and many people will kill him. Take the Super League as an example. They are already preparing to dispatch some monsters to clean up Chi Feng. Yins walked in front of the two. Gently took out a chair and sat down. Leader F, you calm down. This time it may be that we have insufficient data on the Legend of the Night to cause this to happen. If we know that the Legend of the Night is so tricky, why should we wait for him to enter Vanada before we do it? Otherwise, you have to work hard to get rid of it. People like Dark Knight Tales can't live long, this person is too sassy and cruel. Yindi did not speak, but instead came a middle-aged man from a distance. He spoke first. The Yins did not reply to Chief Fu's words, but continued. The real name of Dark Knight Legend is Chi Feng, a first-year student of Ua High School. At first, I didn't believe in such a thing at all, but now I have to believe that this is not an adult yet. The men of the world have actually embarked on the ranks of the top powerhouses, coming menacingly. Yindi also hurriedly said hello. At the same time, somewhere underground in the US, a very energetic old man with white hair suddenly stood up, angrily crushed the teacup in his hand, but the fragments failed to stab him. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. This person called the introducer is the #1 admiral in the Iron and Steel League, and one of the most powerful people. Even if Yindi has a high reputation in the Iron and Steel League, he is not as good as the introducer. Seeing this middle-aged man, not only Yindi bowed and saluted, but even Chief Fu leaned slightly to show respect. If I knew it, I sent a top-level power over. In that case, the Legend of Dark Knight would have to retreat no matter how strong it was. Knight Legend, good, very good. The old man laughed angrily. It's really scary. In just 1 or 2 years, it has grown to this point. If my 6th base of the Iron and Steel League is not revenge, I will not call it Frando's. It was the worst day of her life and it was captured on camera. Add chapter 327 villain is here. Bitcoin Bank, a young millionaire, explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. After hearing the words of the introduction, Chief Fu was not very angry. He did not know more about the Legend of the Night, that is, Chi Feng, than the introduction, so he was angry. And now that the quoter tells some things about Chi Feng, Chief F only knows that Chi Feng is a nasty man. This kind of person is extremely arrogant. It should be that he has some secrets, grows very fast, so he doesn't know how to be low-key. This kind of person is full of brilliance, but definitely doesn't live long. It's not just his Steel League that has to deal with Chi Feng, even the Super League has to deal with Chi Feng. You have to know that the Super League is a behemoth in the United States, and it has the same fight as his Steel League. In some respects, the Super League is compared to Chi Feng. The foundation of his Steel Alliance is even deeper. Not only that, the Hall Master of the Magic Hall is said to have been dispatched personally. As for whether Chi Feng can be intercepted, it is not known. I think he can only live for a week at most. The Yins said flatly. After hearing this, Chief Fu's eyes lit up and looked at Yins and asked, Yins means you want to do it yourself? Me? The leader raised his eyes and looked at the leader of Lower Fu before shook his head and said, he is just a rising star, and he doesn't have the qualifications to let me take action. Chief Fu then smiled awkwardly. Yes, it seems that I am the one who took the picture. It's okay, but if this kind of person does not die after a week, I will personally kill him. Look at it, this person will undoubtedly die within a week. Yins put down a sentence directly, got up and left. I'm relieved with the words of the quotient. Chief Fu was secretly delighted. As long as it was the quotient, there would be nothing wrong with it, and it is not known whether Chi Feng can live for a week. Chi Feng is already far away from Vanada at the moment, and he is on a speedboat with Senos. This time, his gain is not small. He was originally just to remove the Iron Alliance, but in the process there was a surprise. The Iron Alliances. There are 100 million meters of yuan hidden in the 6th base, and 50 tubes of E-type reagents. These 50 tubes of E-type reagents are what Chi Feng urgently needs. Now Chi Feng doesn't know how much he can buy a tube of E-type reagents, but he thinks it is definitely not cheap. So it's great to be able to get 50 tubes of E-type reagent. Others may not know how he grows rapidly. Only he knows. This kind of reagent that enhances the Quirk's strength can be consumed without limit unless his Quirk level is reached. Maximize. After the Battle of Vanada, Chi Feng also gained 10,000 salvation points, plus the total of this time, he has already earned more than 15,000 salvation points. But since Chi Feng left Vanada, there has always been a bad feeling in his heart that he can't return to the island country now, that's how it feels. Above the endless sea, a speedboat was driving fast, heading towards India. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. A few days ago, Bisha had been to Chi Feng's restaurant for barbecue and then left, saying that she was going back to his hometown to see her father. Chi Feng also helped Bisha find news about his father's hometown. It is in a small village in the middle of India, and Bisha is currently in India. Shinos looked at Chi Feng in a puzzled way and asked, Master, what are you going to do in India? Is it just to take a look at the friend you just mentioned? Chi Feng shook his head and said, that's just one of them. I faintly feel that someone has to deal with me. My instincts have always been sharp and there can be nothing wrong. With your master's ability, there must be a lot of people offended. According to my information, you have a lot of enemies. Shinos understands Chi Feng's thinking, and the master wants to become stronger. But is there any way for a country like India to become stronger? The rich people in this country are very rich, and the poor people are very poor, and there is a lot of smuggling, which is very uneasy. Chi Feng didn't ask who was North's own enemies at the time, because he himself knew who he had offended. The speedboat is very fast, but the fuel consumption is also very fierce, but Chi Feng has already prepared the fuel. No matter how much fuel the speedboat consumes, it can make up in time. Although the destination is India, you must stop in Saudi Arabia on the way, and then take a plane to reach India. Otherwise you will have to rely on this speedboat to drive until the year of the monkey. I don't know how long it took, it was already noon, and Chi Feng saw the mainland, because it should be the border of Saudi Arabia. Wanada is not far from Saudi Arabia, but the speedboat is much slower. At this moment, Chi Feng had put a hand on Xenos' shoulder, and the two disappeared in an instant. In this case, it is as far as you can go, but it seems that there is no escape in the Master's dictionary. Understand. There is movement over there. The Saudi border soldiers heard the movement and took out their binoculars, only to see an unmanned speedboat approaching them. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. However, at this moment, Chi Feng has entered the border of Saudi Arabia with Xenos and is marching on a desert. This is over? Some soldiers said uncertainly. Nothing happened. No matter what's going on, just smash it. An officer directly issued the order. This kind of speedboat of unknown origin, and no one, who knows what will be the problem, definitely can't let it go ashore. What's going on? The other soldiers also looked like they had seen a ghost. How could a speedboat appear out of thin air on the endless sea, and it was still self-driving? The reason why Chi Feng wants to go to India is to slaughter a sum of money in the hands of the idol king. To be precise, Chi Feng wants to get some training resources in the hands of the idol king. No way, it's like that when you come from the border, you have to cross the desert yourself to reach the city of this country, and then you can take a plane. However, through Saudi Arabia, you can also discuss business with the local lords here. After all, this country is very rich, and it can be said to be very rich. Shinos suddenly felt that his master's ideas were a bit extreme. The Super League was clearly ready to kill, and there were only two people on their side, and the only one who could really fight was the master. Super League. Chi Feng stared at the spaceship, then sneered. These guys finally can't stand it anymore. I want to see who is coming this time. When Shinos heard that Chi Feng didn't plan to leave, he immediately panicked. Master, let's go quickly. Even if we are killed in this kind of place, we will die in vain. Go. Chi Feng shook his head and said, where to go? We were killed for nothing. They were killed, isn't it the same? The soldiers immediately went to get long-range weapons, and soon the rocket launcher locked the speedboat coming here, and the rockets shot out, breaking the speedboat to pieces. At this moment, a sharp-nosed plane flew from a distance, and from a point of view of its size, it could take at least dozens of people. Chi Feng frowned. He felt that the plane was aimed at him. A layer of blue light appeared in Shinos' eyes, and he began to analyze the aircraft directly. A few seconds later Shinos said with a heavy face. Master, this aircraft belongs to the US Super League. It looks like they're targeting you. Come. Emma Watson's incredible transformation ad exploring the truth behind celebrities' radiant smiles. Ad chapter 328. Chi Feng is injured. Advertise here. Seeing that Chi Feng and Shinos did not escape, the pointed plane stopped in the air and landed in the sand. Chi Feng stood on the sand and looked at the pointed-nosed plane below. The door of the plane opened and soon the people inside walked out. The first person to walk out was not someone else, it was the captain of the United States. The second person walked out with a black helmet and black armor on his head. The third person has two black long swords behind him, wearing a black and red dress, which looks a bit similar to Spider-Man's clothes. The fourth person's skin was completely red, with a golden gem on the center of his eyebrows, and a red cloak on his back, and it floated out like this. The fifth guy is directly riding a black motorcycle. The whole person is a skeleton, and there is a blue flame on the skull. The last person who walked out also wore a red cloak, gray hair, and looked a little older. Shinos just glanced at these guys and knew who these people were. He spoke to Chi Feng and said, these guys from the Super League, come from Captain America, Magneto, Deadpool, Vision, Evil Spirit, Knight, and Doctor Strange. In fact, North reminds Chi Feng to know who these people are when they are not in use. After all, he is someone who has seen Marvel and knows these characters. The Super League really gives me face. It's a pity that so many powerful people are dispatched to kill me. It's a pity that you are not enough. Chi Feng knows that this battle is hard to fight, but he still has to stay calm and flee without a fight. That is the biggest joke. He can't afford to lose this person. Not enough. At this moment, a voice came from the distant sky. What about me? In just an instant, the figure fell in front of the Super League. Chi Feng's eyes narrowed slightly. This guy was wearing a yellow tights. Except for the cloak and gloves, the boots were black, everything else was yellow, but his hair was white. Chi Feng didn't recognize who this guy was, but judging from his aura strength, he was very powerful, perhaps a level better than the Demon Hunter. This kind of villain is indeed very tricky, especially not knowing what his abilities are. Several other people's ability Chi Feng can guess, but after all, he has never played, so everything is still unknown. Master, this is the Sentinel of the Super League, and it is one of the trump cards in the league. It is one of the trump cards in the league. Shinos knew that they would never be able to leave now, and the abilities of these people were beyond her ability to speculate. Yes, so even if you want to fight, the master will fight alone, she can't help at all. Sentinel. Chi Feng finally remembered. Sentinel and Superman are actually of the same type and have similar abilities, but Sentry is very strong, just like Superman. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. It's not that I'm ignorant, I'm the Sentry, and you don't even want to run away even if you put on your wings. The Sentry looked at Chi Feng and sneered. Chi Feng said directly to Shinos, you go a little farther, and I can't protect you when I fight. Master, you have to be careful. Shinos knew that it was too late to say anything. At this moment, Chi Feng could only be careful to deal with it. As long as Chi Feng died, she would not survive. Did I let her go? Doctor Strange stretched his hands, and two golden chains appeared out of thin air to directly hold Shinos' legs, making her unable to leave. Before Doctor Strange could pull Shi-Nu-O-Si over, Chi Feng condensed an air big hand to squeeze the two golden chains. Shi-Nu-O-Si quickly flew away after getting out of the trap. Your opponent is me, not her. Chi Feng looked over coldly. Doctor Strange sighed. As expected of the famous Dark Knight legend, it's okay to deal with you first. I originally wanted you to live a few more minutes, but now it doesn't seem necessary. Wait. The American captain suddenly said it this time, then walked a few steps forward, looked at Chi Feng and asked, Dark Knight legend, would you like to join the Super League? Chi Feng said shamelessly. The Super Leagues are all snakes and rats. I want to ask you, has Thor returned? The American captain knew that Chi Feng was talking about Horta. Since Chi Feng said so, there is no need to talk about it. What else to talk to this kind of dying person, just do it directly. Deadpool drew out the double swords behind his back and rushed towards Chi Feng directly. Chi Feng knows that today may be a deadly battle. This kind of battle is unprecedented. He was beaten by 3 people from the Super League at the beginning. He was almost GG that time, but now it is different. He can already be elementalized. But in the same way, villain is getting stronger. Chi Feng didn't have any tricks. He directly punched Deadpool's stomach, and a transparent air punched through Deadpool's stomach, making his heart cold. Deadpool's movements slowed down a lot, but the punch hole in his stomach was healing quickly at the rate of breathing. The next moment he rushed towards Chi Feng. Chi Feng feels that Deadpool's ability is super regeneration. It seems to be countless times more powerful than Pingyuan Shangda. At least Pingyuan Shangda was punched like this, and it took a long time to recover. Doctor Strange flew directly, pushing his hands forward, and the 4 red chains instantly entangled Chi Feng. How could Chi Feng let himself be entangled and turn directly into air? Vision. Doctor Strange called out. Don't talk nonsense, I understand. At this moment, the jewel between the eyebrows of Vision suddenly lit up, and Chi Feng's body that was about to turn into air was suddenly locked. The lock of space made Chi Feng unable to achieve elementalization. At this moment, Doctor Strange's red chain was wrapped around, controlling Chi Feng directly. Chi Feng suddenly felt cold. He failed in elementalization and could not be transformed into air. He had never considered this kind of thing. He had always thought that he would never be hit by anyone. Unless he volunteered, others would want to hit him. He simply couldn't. But now he understands that he seems to believe in his own abilities too much. The aeration is indeed very strong, but it is not that he has no opponents. The gem on the eyebrows of the illusion does not know what it is, and it can actually prevent him from the aeration. I thought how capable it was. It turned out to be rubbish. Deadpool quickly came to Chi Feng, and the 2 long swords in his hand stabbed directly forward. Puff! Deadpool's double swords were directly inserted into Chi Feng's ribs, and blood dripped down the long swords. This is Chi Feng for so long. He has suffered some injuries from the previous week period. Until now, he was directly stabbed with a sword. Looking for death. Chi Feng is also on fire. He knows that he cannot be controlled. If this continues, he will undoubtedly die. A bluish light burst out from his body, dissolving the black iron chain that had entangled him directly. After breaking free from the shackles, Chi Feng raised his hand to condense Lei Ying and smashed it towards Deadpool. Magneto! Deadpool shouted. He had a headache dealing with this elemental quirk, and he could only let Magneto take action. Magneto suddenly flew over, and the magnetic force in his hand formed a protective film to block Chi Feng's Lei Ying. Chi Feng's expression changed. It seemed that as long as he attacked, someone could always restrain him, making it difficult for him to use his hands. Legend of the Night, your good days are over. The evil spirit knight chuckled, and the black chain draped on his body rushed towards Chi Feng. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Chapter 329 Bitcoin Bank. A young millionaire explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. Chi Feng avoided the past without even thinking about it. The chain on the Ghost Rider must be completely different from the chain created by Doctor Strange. Although the strong like the Ghost Rider is a counterfeit, Chi Feng dare not care about it. However, these dark chains seem to have eyes. Chi Feng avoided and rushed towards Chi Feng in a roundabout way. Chi Feng had to use some strength to avoid, but there were so many people here, and he was injured again. Chi Feng took out the Quirk supplement and took a sip, and then flew directly into the sky. The sentry had been standing underneath and didn't do anything. He felt that he didn't need to do it now. The rest of the people had beaten Chi Feng like this when he did it. Really have no fun. Chi Feng decided to take out all his strength, release a blow, and then take a Quirk supplement to return his strength to the peak, and then make another blow. In this way, all these guys will be finished. What does this guy want to do? Deadpool looked up at the sky. He could not fly and could only watch. It's impossible to escape. The sentry can easily catch him back. Doctor Strange sneered. Chi Feng stopped in the air. His eyes began to turn blue. An unprecedented breath surrounded him, and the surrounding air began to become thin and dry. The energy in the body began to surge. This is the first time Chi Feng has gathered all his strength. The opponents he encountered in the past are different from this time. This time he must go all out, otherwise there will be no future for him. Feeling that the energy in Chi Feng's body was rising and converging, the sentinel's face suddenly changed, and he went straight to the ground to kill Chi Feng. It was at this time that Chi Feng made a movement, placing his left and right hands on the same waist, clasping his hands together, suddenly opened the tip of his palm, and pushed forward against the sentry who rushed up. Air thunder shockwave. A huge energy, full of air force in the thunder and lightning, directly hit the sentry. Seeing that the situation was wrong, the sentry immediately wanted to avoid it, but Chi Feng's attack had already arrived in front of him in the blink of an eye. He simply stepped forward with both hands, trying to block this force. It's a pity that he underestimated Chi Feng. The rabbit bites people in a hurry, let alone Chi Feng. The next moment the sentinel's face changed. He underestimated the attack. He couldn't stop it at all. So the sentry was blasted directly into the sand. Looking up from the sand, it was like a thunder pillar released from Chi Feng's hands, and then it continued to impact. This is not over yet. Chi Feng has only released 1/10 of the power that Chi Feng has just brewed, and now he is starting to enter the topic. Hurry up and stop him. Only then did Deadpool discover that Dark Knight Legend was not the rubbish in his thoughts. It was really powerful. It was the first time I saw the person Deadpool who could blast the sentry into the sand, so I was shocked. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. No need to remind Deadpool, others have already started working on Chi Feng. A golden laser shot directly from the center of the eyebrows of Vision, and the rest of the people also showed their own means. Chi Feng suddenly shrank into a ball, then suddenly stretched his limbs. Feel the pain. My eyes. Everyone can only see a dazzling white light flashing. The next moment was the sound of earth-shattering roar, and the whole world seemed to turn into a piece of white. In these few seconds, the eyes could not be opened at all. The light was too strong. What? The screams kept screaming, whether it was Deadpool, Doctor Strange, or whoever, as long as they were present, except for Shinos, who was hiding in the distance, all the others began to scream. Even the sharp-nosed plane that the Super League came over exploded in an instant. Damn it, stop it. The dead servant bared his teeth, and his body was struck by lightning. His hands and feet had been split into several sections, that is, his waist was split in half. Doctor Strange kept fighting, and the layer of protective film that had just formed was also shattered one after another. There were dozens of wounds on his body, which seemed to be serious. The Captain America was already lying on the ground at the moment, only shielding his head and heart with a shield. However, his body was stronger than Deadpool, but he was also bloodied. The special evil spirit Quirk of the Evil Spirit Rider is afraid of thunder and lightning, especially this kind of unusually powerful and violent lightning. At this moment, his customized motorcycle is used by him to block him, but it can withstand Chi Feng's attack. Directly scrapped. Magneto is a little bit easier. Layers of magnetic shields surround him. Although it can defend against Chi Feng's attack, it consumes too much power and is almost unable to hold on. As for the sentinel still under the sand, I don't know what to do. After Chi Feng released this trick, he immediately took out the Quirk supplement and took a mouthful, but found that the supplement was not very comprehensive. Could it be that he consumed too much power? So how many more mouthfuls? So Chi Feng took 2 more breaths, only then did he feel that his strength had returned to its peak. The next moment he saw that Deadpool had been chopped by his own attack, only one ear was left, but this ear was rapidly spawning, and it seemed that he wanted to recover. The golden jewel in the center of Vision's eyebrows was also chopped by Chi Feng. At the moment, he was lying on the ground and panting, as if he was injured. The others were also injured to varying degrees, but no one has died so far. Chi Feng quickly rushed to the Deadpool with only one ear left, took out a transparent bottle, put the ear in, and threw it directly into the nano storage box. Just when Chi Feng was about to kill Magneto, his feet suddenly exploded. The sentry punched Chi Feng in the stomach and knocked Chi Feng into the air. Puff. Chi Feng vomited blood in the air. This sentry is really FCK strong. He was hit by his attack, and he was still underground for so long before he hit such a strong punch. Nearly breaking him up, Chi Feng took another Quirk supplement, and in the blink of an eye, he came to the sentry and punched out the same. The fist wrapped in a layer of compressed air hit the sentry in the face. The sentry flew more than 10 meters away, stood up and then rushed towards Chi Feng. Chi Feng was stunned. Why is this guy so resistant to beating? How could he not be able to fight? Your strength is beyond my expectation, but you will stop here. The sentinel's face was grim. At this moment, he didn't dare to underestimate Chi Feng. He naturally heard the earth-shaking voice just now, but he couldn't just come out to help. But when he came out, he found that his people were all on the ground, and he knew how strong Chi Feng was. This kind of person is equivalent to a human-shaped nuclear bomb. If you go to a city like this, it is estimated that the city will lose a lot of economy. The sentry's punch contains 70% of his strength. Generally, as long as he strikes 70% of his strength, the person who is hit will not die and will be seriously injured, no matter who it is. Even if All Might was hit by this boxing, he would have been hit hard. Of course, if All Might was in its heyday, his punch would be nothing. When the sentry saw that it was about to hit Chi Feng suddenly disappeared, as if it turned into air. Without the vision, do you think you can still hit me? Chi Feng's sneered voice echoed in the surrounding air. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Exploring the truth behind celebrities' radiant smiles. Ad. Unrealistic beauty standards that cost us self-confidence. Ad. Chapter 330. Bitcoin Bank. A young millionaire explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. Vision. The sentry turned to look at the vision lying aside, and found that the golden jewel at the center of the vision was shattered, and his aura was very weak at the moment. Obviously he couldn't fight anymore. The sentinel's heart sank, and without the ability to visualize, he really couldn't understand the legend of the night. The legend of the night can be turned into air. It must be stopped with a super quirk. He just has super power and physical abilities. If the legend of the night can't be elementalized, he can play, but now he really has no bottom, because he can't beat the legend of the night. How can he be injured? When watching the battle from a distance, North breathed a sigh of relief. Before, she saw that the master was injured by the dead waiter, and almost came to help, but her sanity made her sober. If she went up to help, it might only be a burden. This would not only help. If you don't go to the master, you will be involved. But now there is no problem. The master has already gained the upper hand. The one just now seems to be the master's big move. After the earth-shaking roar, the enemy was almost wiped out, leaving only one sentry. The current sentinel is no longer useful, and almost poses no threat to the master. This is also the same idea in Chi Feng's mind. Now he can elementize it, and there is no problem with dealing with sentinels. The sentry looked around cautiously to prevent Chi Feng's attack. Now the legend of the night has become the climate and has the upper hand, so this battle is regarded as a failure of their super league. The sharp-mouthed plane was scrapped, and they couldn't leave at all, so either he killed the legend of the night, or was counter-killed by the legend of the night. What are you thinking about? Chi Feng's voice suddenly sounded, and a thick lightning arc hit the sentry's back. The sentry is worthy of being a sentry, and his reaction speed is impeccable. At the moment Chi Feng attacked, he had already tested and dodged, but Chi Feng was even better. He went directly to the sentry's dodge position and punched out. When Chi Feng hit the middle of his stomach, the sentry's face became paler. Chi Feng raised his hand and slapped the sentry's head. The sentry was suddenly stunned, and his brain was a little dizzy when he was hit by Chi Feng's palm. At this moment, Chi Feng pressed his hands on the ground and shouted, "Air cage, thunder and lightning cage." The double-layer cage trapped the sentry inside. The innermost layer was a lightning cage. A chain of lightning formed a chain to lock the sentry's limbs. The outer layer was an air cage to prevent the sentry from escaping. The sentry reacted at this moment. He was actually restrained by the legend of the night, and immediately shouted, "Legend of the night, if you dare to kill me, you will be chased by the most terrifying super league, no matter where you are, no matter what are you doing, as long as everything related to you, the super league will obliterate it." Chi Feng's face changed when he heard this, and then looked at the sentinel with anger and said, "Are you threatening me?" Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The sentry heard Chi Feng's tone of excitement, and he said directly, "I'm just giving you a piece of advice. The super league is not something you can provoke. Even if you are elementalized, can others not be elementalized? In our super league, there are many strong ones, and it won't be too difficult to deal with you. At least there are people with the same abilities as illusions, which can make you unable to elementalize in a short time." Chi Feng angrily retorted with a smile. "The Super League is such a big face and a big air. According to you, it is only your Super League to provoke me, but I can't fight back." The sentry knows that the Super League is more extreme and domineering, but in a place full of strong people, what about doing things domineering, it should be. But he dare not talk to Chi Feng like this now, because at this moment he was locked in action by these lightning, and he couldn't break free for a while, so he said slowly, "The Super League sometimes does things, I admit that it is very arrogant and domineering, but as long as you bypass us and hand over Deadpool, I promise you will not be pursued by the Super League." Chi Feng's angry face suddenly smiled. The sentry looked at Chi Feng's smile and panicked. Before he could ask, Chi Feng said, "Sorry, Lousy hates being threatened the most and doesn't accept threats. Night Tales, I hope you think carefully, Super League." Ah. Before the sentry finished his sentence, he felt the thunder and lightning all over his body start to heat up, and the surrounding air became thin and hot. 100 degree. 200 degrees. Chi Feng began to let the temperature rise rapidly, and today he wants to wipe out all these people. Unexpectedly, it was a great reversal. The legend of the knight hides too deeply, and in that case it can release such a powerful attack, and the legend of the knight seems to have a way to supplement physical strength. After such a powerful attack, follow normal people. It's Quirk's weakness or collapse, and Underworld has no such problem at all. The Sentinel's consciousness has been blurred. He is the strongest closest to the dual god realm. It can be said that he is a half-step double god realm. According to his thoughts, he has been dispatched. The Dark Knight legend will definitely die. Sinos. Chi Feng shouted immediately. This is very strange. Although the news has been reported to the headquarters, his life is almost gone right now. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Master. Shinos looked at Chi Feng. It is not surprising that the sentry called his real name Chi Feng. If the Super League does not understand his information, it will not send a special person to kill him. No. Chi Feng immediately noticed that the Doctor Strange who fell on the ground was a fake, and he really seemed to have escaped. The Ghost Rider seemed to be a fake too, just an ordinary white bone lying on the ground. Chi Feng, dare you? The sentry's eyes were full of bloodshot eyes, and even Chi Feng's real name was called out anxiously. Chi Feng was obviously confused. He didn't even think about this kind of thing, so he had to kill the sentry first. The Magneto's ability is very unfavorable to me. Even if he has no strength at all, I am not necessarily his opponent. Shinos did not chase Magneto and them immediately because he knew that his abilities were limited. Magneto just restrained him. Sentinel, I will report back for your contribution to the Super League. You can go on the road with peace of mind. Chi Feng's voice sounded behind Chi Feng. At this moment, Chi Feng noticed that Magneto was flying away with the Captain of the United States. As for the Doctor Strange and the Ghost Rider who were still lying on the ground, they didn't care. 600 degrees. Leave Magneto and Captain America. Their strength is not a threat to you at the moment. Chi Feng was angry and let Villain escape under his nose. This is a shame. Shinos had been paying attention here, and Chi Feng told her to fly over immediately. Not only will I kill you all, but I will also destroy the Super League soon. Even if the US is your enemy, Lousy will take over. Chi Feng continued to raise the temperature. 300 degrees, 400 degrees, 500 degrees. In the double layer cage, it was red at this moment, and nothing was visible. No matter how strong the body of the sentry was, it began to rot under this temperature, and the skin had begun to dissolve. Advertise here. Chapter 331 God Level Domain. Bitcoin Bank. A young millionaire explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. After 10 minutes, Chi Feng removed the double layer cage. However, the sentry had disappeared and was directly turned into ashes by Chi Feng. Oh, no, because there should be no ashes left. The sentry who fought against the Decent Alliance Superman died in this way and was completely obliterated by Chi Feng. If the Super League knew this news, it would not know how angry it would be. Killing the Sentinel didn't have much sense of accomplishment for Chi Feng. This kind of person who relies solely on superhuman power, he has nothing to be proud of killing. But Chi Feng knows that his current strength is not enough. Yes, it's a lot worse. This time of life and death made him understand that he was only on the stage of the world, but he did not have the power to be alone in the world. There is still some way to go before this step. A vision, a Magneto King, and a sentry can kill him. If it weren't for releasing a terrifying attack by himself, he might really die. Chi Feng knows that the lethality is still strong in Thor's return. Although the air manipulation is silent and invisible, there is no Thor's return to attack and be violent. If you want to kill villain, you still have to rely on Thor's return. Thinking of this, Chi Feng directly took out a tube of E-type reagent and drank it without thinking about it. Then the experience value was added to Thor's second coming, prompting 500 experience. The second tube, 400. The third tube, 300. The fourth tube, 300. The fifth tube, 300. Sure enough, as Chi Feng thought, this effect was similar to that of the W-type reagent. At first, it was 500 experience points, and then it became less afterwards, but it was stuck at 300 experience points. Chi Feng looked at the experience value needed for Thor's second coming to be 14,800. The E-type reagents he had left were just enough to upgrade Thor's second coming to LV9 level. So Chi Feng began to drink E-type reagents non-stop. When she stood aside, North was a little dumbfounded. Although she was transforming people, she also knew that this kind of reagent could not be taken so much at once. After all, this was a consumable and the body needed time. But the master actually drank it as water. What the hell is going on? However, Shinos will not remind Chi Feng, because she knows that Chi Feng must have his reason for doing this. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. As the last tube of Type E reagent was absorbed by Chi Feng, and then all added to Thor's second coming, Chi Feng's breath instantly became violent. Shinorth hurriedly backed away when he saw it, and Master was about to break through. Congratulations to the host Thor's return to upgrade to LV9. Quote. The return of Thor LV 950,029,600. Cracking. The crackling sound sounded. Chi Feng directly elementalized. This time his Thor's return became taller and clearer. You can see the outline of the face, and some rune marks on the chest. At this moment, Chi Feng's hand there was an extra blue thunder stick, the Thor's stick. Chi Feng held the stick and swung the stick towards the distance, and a thunder light that pierced the sky appeared, splitting the desert several hundred meters ahead into a deep ditch with great power. Just now, Chi Feng only used 50% of his strength, which created such a situation. If he used 100% of his strength, the powerhouses of the second divine realm might be killed by him. Because now Chi Feng's strength has broken through the imperial level powerhouse and entered the realm of god level. Although he has just entered the realm of god level, Chi Feng knows that his current strength is more than twice as strong as before. But then Chi Feng was a little puzzled. When Thor was upgraded to LV9, he elementalized and obtained the Thor rod, and when the air manipulation was upgraded to LV9, he didn't even have a fart. Chi Feng couldn't understand this, even if he asked the system, he didn't know. Now Chi Feng is a god-level powerhouse, his confidence is enough in an instant, but if you want to become stronger, you can only start with the improvement of the cultivation base, and you must raise the cultivation base to the 9th level, so that you can be regarded as a villain who is not afraid of the future. Shinos looked at Chi Feng incredulously. Just now, the Master's Thunder Stick went down. That terrifying power has maxed out her combat effectiveness evaluator, which can be said to be an explosion. If that club hit her, she might die instantly. No matter how stupid, Shinos knew that Chi Feng's strength at this time could not be compared with before. She immediately stepped forward and said, "Congratulations, Master's strength to the next level." Chi Feng smiled, but he was not very happy, because he was stabbed by someone like Deadpool not long ago. What if Deadpool cut his head back then? Chi Feng believes in this, he must not make fun of his life. From today, I will kill whoever provokes me. Chi Feng said with cold eyes, he was so merciful, he thought that the Super League affair was over, but he actually shot so many strong people at this time. Come and kill him. If he can bear it with Chi Feng, then he doesn't need to practice and can just go to death. Hearing what Chi Feng said, Shinorth subconsciously fought a cold war, and the master sometimes was really scary. Where are we going now? Shinos asked. The plan remains unchanged. Go to India to find someone. Chi Feng's confidence increased greatly. When he directly rolled up, North turned into a thunder and fired towards the distance. At this speed, it was difficult for Senos to see the surrounding environment clearly, and he felt the surrounding scenery disappear in a flash. General, there is an unknown object quickly approaching our base. On the edge of the desert, a soldier in the army near the Saudi city eagerly reported to his superiors. The officer looked at the rapidly approaching dot on the screen and asked, "Could you know what it is it a missile?" It's not a missile. The speed of the missile is not so fast. We don't even have time to analyze what it is, because the speed is too fast. The soldier said anxiously. Ignorance, with our military technology, is there anything that can't be clearly analyzed? The chief said immediately. Using a high-definition resolution machine, the calculation is high-load analysis and you must figure out what this thing is. No, sir, it's gone. The soldier shouted in shock, and the small dots that were still moving quickly on the screen suddenly disappeared. What the hell is going on? The chief was also shocked, and he would disappear on the radar. You must know whether it is a machine or a living object, as long as it is close, it will be discovered, and there is no disappearance. When Senos was near the military base, he reminded Chi Feng that it is best for Chi Feng to avoid being spotted. They will definitely make waves when they come to a country's main city so arrogantly, even the world broadcasts. Chi Feng currently doesn't want the world to recognize him, so he can only turn into the air and take Shinos away. Half an hour later, Chi Feng came to Saudi Arabia's chief city, Dubai. After dressed up in disguise, Chi Feng walked directly into the city. In the eyes of outsiders, he and Shinos were ordinary people who came to travel. Chi Feng would not be found unless a local police officer came to check his ID. Can you find out how many Imperial-level powerhouses there are in the local area? Chi Feng asked Shinos. Now he wants to directly attack the Imperial-level powerhouses, and these people have what he wants. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Exploring the truth behind celebrities' radiant smiles. Ad. The hottest zodiac signs, you won't believe who tops the list. Ad. Chapter 332 Nash Sect plus more 3/4. Bitcoin Bank. A young millionaire explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. I can find it, and it's very clear. The imperial level powerhouses here are relatively high profile and will not hide themselves, because it should be because of this country. Shinos nodded, and then began to search for the local imperial level powerhouses. Information. 10 minutes later, North stopped searching and looked at Chi Feng and said, "The local Imperial League is relatively low-key and never provocative, but some organizations are more active. Among them, the Nash sect and the Megiddo Association are more active. These two forces are more active. Among the top 5 in Dai Bai, it is considered a local behemoth. Then how many imperial powers are among these two forces? Chi Feng continued to ask. Shinos immediately Kaido. There are 2 imperial level powerhouses in the Nash sect, of which there is only the first emperor, and the remaining one is the third emperor. There are many 7 sages and 5 kings among the members. The Megiddo Association has a total of there are 3 imperial level powerhouses, one is the first emperor, and the other 2 are the second and third emperors respectively. Generally speaking, Jimido has more strong associations. Chi Feng was stunned for a moment. Originally, he thought there were at least 5 or 6 imperial level powerhouses among these two forces, but then he thought about it carefully and the current number of imperial level powerhouses was considered normal. The imperial powers in this world are also limited, a rich country like Dubai, but it is a small country. For example, the number of imperial powers in the Nash sect and the Megiddo Association is already a lot. You must know that every imperial powerhouse represents absolute strength. Go to Nashville first. Chi Feng asked Shinos to give directions, and then hurried over. Nash religion is considered to be famous in the local area. Although Nash religion is not as strong as the Megiddo Association, this does not hinder the status of Nash religion in Dubai. At the moment, Kaido, the leader of Nashi sect, is holding a gathering with his followers. This gathering is mainly to celebrate that he has won a commercial land. Although it is not big, it means making money as long as it is taken. You know that in a place like Dubai, where a small piece of land can make you rich. Master, it is really gratifying to congratulate you. Come, this glass of wine is my respect to you. I hope you will always rise, and your strength will be forever. In the Nash church, under the main seat Yukaido, a man in a religious uniform stood up and raised his glass to Yukaido. The person who raised the glass was the deputy leader of Nash sect, Rimi, and the only second and third emperor in strength. Vice Master Rimi, thanks to you this time, our Shirjiao was able to win that piece of land. This time you have contributed a lot and should be rewarded. Yukaido laughed and was very happy. Other believers also raised their glasses to celebrate this memorable day. Just when everyone in the Nash sect was very happy and celebrating, there was a knock on the door. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Vice Master Limi frowned. This is exactly what their church is holding an internal meeting. Why would someone come to interrupt at this time, and there is a religious block at the door? It can't be like this. Unless there is a big person, or something happened, it will disturb their nature at this time. Let's see what's going on. Rimi did not wait for Yukaido to speak, but directly ordered a believer to open the door and check. Because Rimi had already seen Yukaido a little unhappy, it was obvious that the knock on the door disturbed his interest. The religious hurried to open the door, and what caught the eye was a man in a black turban and a woman in a white turban standing outside the door. You are? The believer asked, but did not get a reply from the two. The two walked forward on their own, and soon followed the gaze of hundreds of people to the middle of the church. Rimi stared at the two uninvited guests for a long time, and only after they walked very close to him, did he ask, "Who are the two? What do you think of coming to me?" Before knowing who these two guys are, Rimi wouldn't do it. The two who came here were Chi Feng and Shinos. At this time, Li Mi asked them. Chi Feng looked at this Nashka. This Nashi religion doesn't seem to be special. From the perspective of his current powerhouse, this place is a mob. I just heard you say that you got a piece of land, it seems there is a lot of money. Chi Feng said with a smile. This time before Rimi spoke, Yukaido said coldly, "Are you here to die? Do you know who I am?" He actually dared to say these things in his church, and he was clearly here to find fault, and he didn't look at whose territory he was standing on. In Dubai, who would dare to talk to him like this, even if it was the first force in Dubai? A mere number 1 emperor, he is not a top powerhouse yet, do you dare to say that I am here to die? Chi Feng sneered. Rimi and Yukaido were shocked. When Yukaido heard Chi Feng's tone, it seemed that he didn't put the imperial power in his eyes, and the other party actually knew that he was not a top power. He had never been outside to talk to him. People have said that they are not top powerhouses. Then there is only one thing, this man is either lying, or he can see his specific strength. If he is just lying, he is not worried, and he can be killed at will. If he can see his specific strength, then this guy is definitely better than him. Your Excellency, what do you mean? Our cult has never seen Your Excellency, and has never had hatred. Rimi said in a slow tone. He still doesn't know the specific strength of this guy or the specific purpose of coming, so can't do it. Indeed, you haven't seen me and have never sinned against me, but if you offend me, I will not come here, but directly come in. Chi Feng's tone is flat, but there is no doubt that there is oppression force. Yukaido stood up and said with a cold face, "You can tell me directly, I'm holding a celebration party, and I don't have time to guess mystery with you." Okay, I like happy people, Chi Feng smiled, and then said sternly, "I want you to teach me 30 tubes of E-type reagents. I don't need other money." You're looking for death. Li Mi heard Chi Feng talking like this. He couldn't help it at this moment. In an instant, his whole body turned silver, and then he kicked Chi Feng's head. Chi Feng raised the Thunder God's stick and appeared, and directly hit the right leg that Li Mi kicked at him, and hit it firmly with a stick like this. In the next moment, Rimi's right leg was directly shattered, without even seeing a bit of blood. Rimi fell straight down, spouting a mouthful of blood, and there were only 2 words in his heart, so strong. Seeing that Rimi was directly destroyed by a blow, Yu Kaido's anger in his heart burned like flames, raised his hand, and a blood-red longsword fell in his hand, and he slashed Chi Feng down. Now he was originally the festive day was ruined by this guy who suddenly appeared. Not only that, but also defeated his capable subordinates. If this hatred is not reported, what he said would be a joke. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. It was the worst day of her life and it was captured on camera. Ad. Exploring the truth behind celebrities' radiant smiles. Ad. Chapter 333 Chi Feng's Harvest. Bitcoin Bank. A young millionaire explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. Between the lightning and the fire, the vice master's leg had been shattered, and it was considered useless. The other believers were shocked in their hearts, and at this moment they stepped aside. The deputy leader was beaten and scrapped with one blow. Although they had more than 100 people here, no one thought they could take that stick. At this time the sword of the leader Yu Kaido has come, and the blood-red wave of swords is mixed with a violent aura. Chi Feng has determined in his heart that this sword is not due to the strength of Yu Kaido, but because of the sword. This sword is very weird. Chi Feng is already a god-level powerhouse. It doesn't take much effort to deal with this kind of guy. The Thor stick in his hand has already been swung down, and a dreadful blue stick swept over it, directly splitting Yu Kaido's blood-red sword glow, and then it fell on Yu Kaido's right hand. Yu Kaido's right hand is like plastic, and what was hit by Chi Feng's stick turned into slag, and the red long sword he was holding in his hand also fell on the ground. Chi Feng waved his hand, and Chi Feng took the red long sword that Kaido had dropped on the ground. Chi Feng held the long sword and felt it, and found that it was actually a spiritual weapon. That's right, specifically, it is a low-grade spiritual weapon. This kind of thing Chi Feng has only read in the books left by the master. It seems to be something that appeared in the ancient times. Now it is actually in a different world. It is not right, because it should be a spiritual tool found in the dimensional world. It is simply too shocking. Where did you get this weapon? Chi Feng immediately looked at Yu Kaido and asked. The appearance of the spiritual tool indicates that there are also monks in this world, or that the road to another world has been opened, otherwise it is impossible for a spiritual tool to appear. This can also explain why Chao Baichao is a unique monk in this world, and the addition of Chi Feng made Chao Baichao no longer alone. Yu Kaido's heart is already cold. With this full blow, he can't even stop the opponent's stick, and his hand has been broken into pieces. This kind of strength is no longer in the imperial realm. The person who came here should be a peerless powerhouse, at least in the legendary realm, perhaps a hidden person. It's just that Kaido can't understand why this kind of strong guy still needs E-type reagents. To put it bluntly, this reagent is only useful for him in 1 or 2 tubes, and more of it will have no effect, especially in the imperial domain. In terms of people. At this moment, Chi Feng asked him, Yu Kaido immediately said after a cold war, I snatched this sword from the Chinese. Senior, can you not kill me? I have no grievances with you. Quote. Yu Kaido is already scared. He has never encountered this kind of thing in his teaching for so long. Such a powerful guy would actually ask for something. If he knows that Chi Feng is so strong, where would he do it? No, he didn't do it first, but Rimi, a fool who did it first. At this moment, Yu Kaido hates Rimi, and even if he helped him get the admiration of the land, it disappeared at this moment. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Isn't Rimi's heart cold? Even if he was thrown to the North Pole at this moment, it was not so cold. If he knew that this person was so strong, he would have dared to do something, and he had already put a hippie smile on him. It is precisely because they are not afraid of anything, and they also have a face in Dubai, that's why this kind of thing happened. The main reason is that this person is too deceitful, so it's fine to come and disturb them at the party. They also open their mouths to have 30 pipes. Type reagent, who won't let it go? Chi Feng didn't care about these people's thoughts, just looked at Yu Kaido and asked, what about the Chinese, do you know his address or what his name is? Yes, I know, senior, did you bypass me when I said it? Yu Kaido said with trembling legs. There were more than 100 people in the church. At this moment, everyone could clearly see the trembling of his leader Yu Kaido's legs, but no one laughed, because each of them was also trembling. This kind of powerhouse will do anything casually, and the lives of more than 100 of them will disappear in the world. I promise you, as long as you tell the truth and give me what I want, I can let you go. Chi Feng said flatly, but his heart was not at peace. It seems that Kaido knows the information of the Chinese person, so he dared to say that. This inferior spirit weapon is related to some things, and Chi Feng must understand clearly. Okay, there is absolutely no problem. Yu Kaido immediately looked at Rimi who fell on the ground and said, Remy, you should go back now and get what senior wants. You'd better bring them all. Li Mi was taken aback for a moment, and then immediately got up. Even if he only had one leg, he could stand up quickly, and then greeted two believers to help him walk towards the door. Remember, don't play tricks. If you play tricks in front of me, your teachings will become history from today. Chi Feng said without looking back. Li Mi almost fell to the ground and said immediately, yes, I dare not do anything. Go and come back soon. Chi Feng said flatly, then looked at Yukaido and said, now you can talk. Yes, senior. Yukaido wiped the sweat from his forehead, and then said, 3 years ago, a young Chinese came to Dubai. His name was Shu Taiwan and he came across the border. At that time, I was discussing business in a remote hotel. After the end, I saw this man when I passed the lobby on the first floor. At that time, this guy carried the sword on his back without any disguise, so I was moved when I saw it, because this sword seems a bit different. Yukaido continued. Then I asked the young man how to sell the sword, but he did it directly at me without saying a word, and then I naturally shot it. This Shu too late is just the strength of the first sage, and it's far worse than that, so I got this sword. Chi Feng sneered in his heart. He can only believe half of Kaido's words. He absolutely doesn't believe that the person named Shu too late will do it directly. There must be some reasons for this. In short, Kaido is definitely not a good bird. Then do you know where his hometown is? Chi Feng asked. Yukaido recalled it for a moment, and then said, it seems to be in Sichuan, Sichuan province. Shu Mountain. Chi Feng's eyes lit up. It is said that in ancient times, there were immortals in Shu Mountain. But this is just a legend. Chi Feng doesn't know the reason for this, but Shu came from Sichuan too late, obviously there are some problems. It seems that it is time to go back to China. After asking these questions, Remy also came back. He walked over with the nano storage box in his hand and handed it to Chi Feng. Senior, all the things you want are here. Chi Feng took a look, and he liked the contents. 50 tubes of W-type reagent, 100 tubes of Q-type reagent, and 35 tubes of E-type reagent. These things are basically all the assets of Nasherjiao. Of course, these are only cultivation assets. As for the economic assets, Chi Feng does not need to seize them, because he is rich enough now. Chi Feng is actually robbing. Although this method is not very good, it is fast. If you do business with a good person and negotiate the price, Chi Feng is of course willing, but Chi Feng has already investigated everything, and it is not a good thing. After getting what he wanted, and asking what he wanted to hear, Chi Feng didn't come in vain on this trip, so he glanced at Yukaido and said, I speak fortune and I will kill you. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. You have coronavirus. Now what happens? Ad. Exploring the truth behind celebrities' radiant smiles. Ad. Chapter 334. Because I'm robbing. Advertise here. Thank you, senior. Thank you, senior. Yukaido said gratefully, really frightening him. When Yukaido raised his head, he found that Chi Feng had already left. At this time, his face became cold. He looked at Remy and said, who asked you to do it? Remy knelt down immediately, but he couldn't hold on to his knees with only one leg. He could only hold his hands and said, Master, I didn't know he was so strong. I just wanted to protect your face, so I did it. No, it's a kick. Yukaido's angry eyes were full of bloodshot eyes, and he pointed his broken right arm with his left finger and said, maintain my face. Lousy now has no hands. What do you think you use to protect face, huh? Do you use your feet to protect my face? Damn, Lousy's feet are gone, everyone is even. Remy yelled in his heart, but he didn't dare to say so, just whispered, the teacher how to punish me, I took it all. Yukaido looked at Remy and took a few deep breaths before he cursed. Punish you for a fart, I have a broken hand, and you have a broken foot. If what happened today spreads out, let alone the newly acquired land. It will be in vain, even our religion will be in jeopardy. Li Mi realized at this moment that both he and the leader were wounded, and if other forces took advantage of this at this time, it would really be over. Listen, everyone, don't say anything about today. A week later, when the Vice Master and I regain our strength, we will still be the Nashi, and there will be no change. Yukaido said loudly, and the voice spread to everyone. In the ears of a believer. Yes, the leader. At this moment, Chi Feng has come to the door of the Megiddo Association. His spiritual consciousness can clearly see the two men sitting together in a luxurious room in the Megiddo Association. One of them is the leader of the Megiddo Association, Marcos Ogu, the strength of the first emperor. The other is the vice president of the Megiddo Association, Simon Lucen, the strength of the second emperor. At this moment, the two of them are talking about the issue of the land, and it seems that the land is related to the direction of the upper forces in Deba. This time Chi Feng didn't let Shinos enter with him, but let Shinos wait outside, and he turned into air and entered the house. Meeting Lord, the piece of land obtained by Nash sect this time seems to be better than ours. It is in a good location. We can talk to Nash sect while the land has not really changed hands. Simon Lucen respectfully said. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Marcos Ogu thought for a while and said, Nash teacher is now in full swing. If the third child is not at home, how can he take his turn to grab the site? What do you mean, big brother? Simon Lucen saw Marcos Ogu directly talking about the third child, and he was no longer called Weiju, but big brother. I mean, you now give me 50 tubes of E-type reagent, I can keep you from telling what you said today. At this moment, a voice came from outside the room, and the door opened by itself. Chi Feng walked in. Who are you? Marcos Ogu's expression changed. He didn't know when there was an extra person in the Megiddo Association, and the defenses here are so tight that it is impossible for anyone to come in. It doesn't matter who I am, you only need to honor what I just said. Chi Feng walked in slowly, and then closed the door, as if this place is like his own home. You dare to bully me at the Megiddo Club, I see how you died. Simon Lucen turned his hands directly into thick branches and rushed towards Chi Feng. At the moment when Simon Lucen took the shot, Chi Feng felt in the air that Simon Lucen's quirk was poisonous, not an ordinary wood element quirk, but some toxins that it carried. However, this attack was ignored by Chi Feng. A thunderball threw a thunderball at Simon Lucen. It was directly scorched when it touched a branch and then shattered every inch. Simon Lucen's face changed, and he blurted out, Raiden Quirk. Marcos Ogu felt even more trembling in his heart, the owner of the Thunder Quirk, and the second one's branch arm was directly ruptured in one blow. This strength may not be an opponent. Now, there is another Thunder and Lightning Quirk, and the strength is so strong, did this guy appear out of thin air? Chi Feng loosened the bondage of the two, and Marcos Ogu asked Simon Lucen to call his men and let him go down and fetch things. Raiden Quirk was originally to restrain the wood element quirk, although his quirk is very effective against ordinary people, even if it is the same level, there are many imperial powers who are not his opponents, but he can't beat the guy in front of him. Thinking of this, Marcos Ogu said directly, I only have 40 tubes of E-type reagent, but there are 100 tubes of W-type reagent. Marcos Ogu originally wanted to fight, but now he suddenly understood that since the other party dared to come to him, it meant that he was not afraid of the Megiddo Association at all, nor was he afraid of him Marcos Ogu. I hope you do what I say. If you don't listen, I will have to follow my method. Chi Feng did not continue to do it. At this time, Simon Lucen did not dare to do it anymore, because he knew that he was not at all the opponent's opponent. You don't need to sit down and talk, because I'm just robbery. Chi Feng laughed, and with both hands, Marcos Ogu and Simon Lucen began to thicken. Is a strong double quirk. However, Marcos Ogu and Simon Lucen don't know. They don't even know when there will be such a powerful person in the world. In today's world, the only known Thunder Quirk is Thor, the god of thunder. As for the Thunder Quirk that destroyed the world, it has disappeared in everyone's memory. In fact, we can't blame Marcos Ogu and Simon Lucen. Although they pay a lot of attention to the outside world, they ignore the news about Chi Feng. In some parts of the world, some forces actually already know that Chi Feng is a lightning quirk, it seems there is also an air quirk. My friend, our Megiddo Association has no grievances and no grudges against you. There is no need to do this. What is the difference between you and robbery? We can sit down and talk. The price is easy to negotiate. Marcos Ogu has never experienced this. This kind of thing, a strong man who had never seen him broke into his territory to grab something. As this, double quirk. Simon Lucen's face changed drastically. If Chi Feng showed him the thunder and lightning quirk just now, he was shocked, then the pair of quirks shocked him now. About 10 minutes later, Chi Feng waited for the reagents, and also waited for hundreds of people to be surrounded, and the entire Megiddo Association was blocked. But today I really met this kind of person. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. It can only be said that Chi Feng has grown up too fast and has not given anyone time to react. Chi Feng's eyes lit up and he waved his hand and said, okay, that's it, I will let you Megiddo Association hand over the things. Emma Watson's Incredible Transformation. Ad. Chapter 335. Bitcoin Bank. A young millionaire explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. Chi Feng looked at Marcos Ogu and Simon Lucen and sneered. It seems that your Megiddo Association thinks that you have lived too long. Marcos Ogu asked in a puzzled manner. Senior, what do you mean by this? Go to the door yourself. Chi Feng felt that Marcos Ogu should not know, otherwise he would not ask this sentence, but directly do it. Marcos Ogu came to the door, and when he opened the door, he saw so many people's expressions suddenly changed. When did FCK gather so many people? Simon Lucen stood there and didn't speak, but Marcos August had already seen it. Simon Lucen must have said something secret on the phone before so many people gathered. What are you trying to do? Do you want to kill all of us? Marcos Ogu shouted sharply. He thought that Simon Lucen's brain was amused, and he wanted to resist. Simon Lucen suddenly said, Big brother, we have joined forces to kill this guy, we have so many people, and I have already notified the Emperor League that even if the professional heroes don't make a move, the people from the Emperor League will come soon. Marcos Ogu pointed to Simon Lucen and said, You. Who asked you to do this? I'm going to do this myself, brother, you are just frightened by his methods. If we make a move together, he will undoubtedly die, not to mention the Imperial League's backing. Chi Feng raised his hand to the door and squeezed the wall. The nano storage box in a man's hand was directly grabbed by Chi Feng. Then he sneered at Simon Lucen and said, "This is your Miji. Many associations are seeking their own dead ends. Brother, let's do it together." Simon Lucen shouted, and at the same time ordered the members of the association to take action. Chi Feng didn't give these people time to react at all. Before Simon Lucen had finished saying this, he had torn the roof and suspended in midair, and the Thor stick in his hand took a piece of thunder and swept it down. Boom. There was a loud explosion, and the entire villa area of the Megiddo Association was directly smashed into ruins by Chi Feng with only one stick. Neither the host Marcos Ogu nor the vice-host Simon Lucen escaped, even only a few of those hundreds of members escaped. Those who escaped were regarded as standing on the edge, so they were not killed by Chi Feng, otherwise they would end up the same way as the host and vice-host. After destroying the Megiddo Association, Chi Feng rolled up Shinos in the distance and turned into a thunder rainbow and disappeared in place. 5 minutes after Chi Feng left here, the Yiliang off-road vehicle drove in the distance, and the three men got out of the vehicle. When they saw the Megiddo Association in ruins, their faces changed. Who did this on Earth? Someone dared to do it openly at Dibiao. Is this a death hunt? The short-haired man said angrily, with a hint of panic in his tone. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The Megiddo Association is considered to be the top 5 power in die break, and it turns out that if there is none, it is gone. How strong is this to achieve this level? Send someone to investigate the surveillance head. The things here are no longer what we can manage. After a while, the professional heroes will come, let's go quickly. The long-haired man-headed said. Wait a minute, the short-haired man saw a man trembling near the trash can not far away, and immediately called to him. We are from the Imperial League, come here. The trembling man ran over quickly when he heard the words, and fell a few times while on the road, before he came to the three of them. Are you from the Megiddo Association? The short-haired man asked. Yes, senior, I am a member of the Megiddo Association, the member said tremblingly, his eyes full of fear. What is going on here, and what are you afraid of? The short-haired man frowned and asked. There is a strong man who wiped out the Megiddo Association with just one stick. A member of the Megiddo Association said that the fear in his eyes was even stronger at this time. A stick. The three of the Emperor League looked at each other. What is going on? Seeing that the three predecessors of the Imperial League did not understand, the members of the Megiddo Association had no choice but to explain what happened. When the three of the Imperial League understood it, they were all shocked. With just one person, hundreds of people in the Megiddo Association were wiped out with one stick, including the leader Marcos Ogu and the vice leader Simon Lucen. This kind of strength is definitely not an ordinary Imperial powerhouse. It's not that the police station and professional heroes are scattered on the internet, but the Debeti League. The strong are low-key. Even the Super League and some other large forces dare not kill so many people in full view. Isn't that deliberate and lawless? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. No matter where the perpetrator is or where he flees, as long as there is monitoring, it can be found out. But compared to the hundreds of people killed by Chi Feng, they are all insignificant. Let's go first. Professional heroes is coming soon. The long-haired man greeted, and the three of the Imperial League quickly left after getting in the car. As for the remnants of Megiddo, they would never come back. Even if there is a royal-level powerhouse in the Megiddo Association who is not dead, these members will not come back again. Chi Feng is now in the realm of God level. Even if he encounters the army, he is not afraid of it. It can be said that there are really not many people who can help him. In addition to a few behemoths, there are those who are hidden in the world. Some people strongly urge the world government to want this person and kill them if necessary. When Chi Feng's video was disseminated on the internet, it immediately attracted the attention of countless people. There are crimes all over the world every day, and major incidents happen every day. This kind of strength is simply abnormal in the eyes of the audience. And it's still a big case involving hundreds of lives. Although some of those hundreds of lives may be good people, Chi Feng can only kill him in vain. After all, if he doesn't do anything, these hundreds of people will also attack him. At this time, Chi Feng has boarded a ship to India, and the local police station in Dubai has investigated and monitored. Although Chi Feng's face was not photographed, Chi Feng's figure and the Thor stick in his hand have been analyzed, is the legend of the night. Therefore, Chi Feng was directly wanted by Dai, and videos about the destruction of the Megiddo Association quickly fermented on the internet. Within a few minutes after the people of the Imperial League left, professional heroes and police officers arrived. The local professional heroes and police officers responded slowly, because no one would openly commit crimes in Dubai this year, but today it is happened. The most important thing is that there are only 4 words in Chi Feng's video that can be described as horror. That stick will directly destroy the Megiddo Association, which covers an area of several acres, into ruins. Master, you have become the target of the public now. I don't want you to become the most wanted criminal in a long time. Shinos is speechless at this time, and his master is going to become a wanted criminal, so what's the matter with her? Chi Feng knew that he was in trouble and might be wanted for it, but Chi Feng didn't care at all. He killed some bad people, and he never killed good people. Exploring the truth behind celebrities' radiant smiles. Ad. Unrealistic beauty standards that cost us self-confidence. Ad. Chapter 336. Bitcoin Bank. A young millionaire explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. Shinos felt that Chi Feng was a little bit motivated, and he was not so impulsive when he was teaching in Nashi. Why did he start with the Megiddo Association, and it was in full view? Now, Chi Feng's videos are everywhere on the internet. Although many videos have been deleted, there are still many videos circulating. There is a steady stream of them, and they can't be deleted no matter how they are deleted. Even some people who can make videos help Chi Feng make some animation music, and make ghosts and animals. In short, Chi Feng is on fire, completely on fire. No, it should be the legend of the night. Everyone only knows that this powerful man who was born in the sky is called the legend of the night. Although Chi Feng killed hundreds of people, people all over the world are not necessarily scolding Chi Feng, because many people in the Megiddo Association have investigated. It is an out-and-out dark force, and the members inside are doing some harm to the world. The thing, in short, is definitely a wicked person. And the legend of the night has destroyed the Megiddo Association alone, and many people have also spoken in support of the behavior of the legend of the night, which has removed the malignant tumor for the society. All over the world, everywhere in society, there are more positive reviews than negative reviews, so Chi Feng is a good person in the eyes of everyone. However, the legend of the night has since become the target of the dark forces. People in the world and all over the world did not know the legend of the night, and now they all know it. Unexpectedly such a strong guy was born, and it was horrible. All in all, regardless of whether the world has praised or bad reviews of Chi Feng, whether it is praise or derogation, Chi Feng is regarded as breaking the law. At least the government of Dai will not let Chi Feng go. However, even if Dubai had blocked the local airport and ships at this moment, he could not stop Chi Feng, who had already left. I have been low-key for too long. Now I am a god-level powerhouse. There is no need to flinch. As long as it is evil and dark, I will get rid of it. Chi Feng is not worried, he is now. Strength. You can run even if you can't be beaten by siege, no one can stop it anyway. The only thing that worries Chi Feng is his friends in the island country and his barbecue restaurant. At this time, Xiao Baichao called. Chi Feng, you are so brave, you can die if you keep a low profile. You know, now even the professional heroes and police stations of the island country are looking for you. Xiao Baichao's voice was much louder than before. How is my store? Chi Feng asked immediately. Your barbecue restaurant is now closed, because people in the police station know that Chi Feng is the legend of the night, but I have arranged for your people to close the door in advance, so they just closed your restaurant instead of bringing your friends. Go. Xiao Baichao sighed on the other side of the phone. Xiao Baichao is doing some tomb robbery in foreign countries to make some extra money. In the end, Chi Feng was even more ruthless than him, and he killed the door directly. What a hatred this is. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chi Feng chatted with Xiao Baichao on the phone and then hung up. At this time, too many people called Chi Feng, but Chi Feng did not answer a call, except for Xiao Baichao. It is his classmates who called Chi Feng. Although most people in the world only know the identity of Chi Feng's Dark Knight legend, they don't know the true name and identity of Chi Feng. But his classmates have already obtained the true identity about the legend of the night, that is, Chi Feng. The three of Shoto Todoroki, Bakugo Katsuki, and Midoriya Izuku were the most shocked. Of course, Ida Tenya and others are also extremely shocked. Until now they can hardly imagine that Underworld and Chi Feng are the same person. Inoue Sakura did not call Chi Feng. Chi Feng felt that it was Inoue Sakura who didn't know about this at the moment, or it was possible that Sister Ying had been taken by the police station for questioning. Chi Feng didn't worry too much. He just needs to become stronger now. As long as no one can catch him, he can snatch some training resources from the dark forces. Before long, his double quirk will become LV10 and reach the strongest state. At that time, he will basically be his opponent in this world. It was already dark when he arrived in India, and Chi Feng took advantage of the darkness to turn into a thunder rainbow and disappeared on the vast land. When Chi Feng came to the village of Bisha, Lisha was sitting alone on a large rock. The village was surrounded by rocky cliffs on all sides, and it was a bit depressed. The houses are very old wooden houses, which are far behind Chi Feng's construction in the small world. Looking at the way Bisha sits on a rock, Chi Feng knows that Bisha may not have a sense of belonging at all. After all, everything here is strange. Hesha, what are you looking at here? Chi Feng quietly came to Pesha's side. Look at the stars. Hesha just replied at random, and then suddenly realized that the voice was somewhat familiar, and immediately stood up. Ah, Chi Feng, how did you come? Bisha exclaimed in surprise. I came from Debay. You may not know this place, or even what I have done recently. Chi Feng's consciousness swept around in this village and found that the TVs here are very old, and many radio stations cannot be received. So Hesha naturally didn't know what happened to him in Dai. Are you so empty these days? Is the business doing well in the shop? Is it hard to find me here? Hesha asked a lot of questions, and Chi Feng answered truthfully. As for what he did in Debay, naturally, there is nothing to do. Say. In the evening, Bisha gathered all the people in the village and held a party. Chi Feng brought out some good food, which moved the local villagers very much. According to Bisha, this village is his father's former village. Now it has been replaced for many generations, and there is only the last one who is related by blood. He is still a 70-year-old man, and is the grandson of Bisha's father. In short, many generations. Chi Feng stayed here for 2 days in Bisha, helping Bisha's village to renew the local buildings before leaving. Bisha is a friend of Chi Feng, and he met from another world. It is also right to come and help Bisha and the people in his village to improve their lives. Even Senos installed several signal-enhancing machines in the village of Pesha. From then on, people in this village can search all the TV stations when watching TV. Chi Feng is now looking for the idol king. There are definitely a lot of good things in this guy. After all, he was born in a family robbery, but the only difference is that the idol king, whether good or bad, is robbed. Sometimes North is there, and it doesn't take much effort to find the idol king. According to Xenos, the king of idols is living in the kingdom of idols, which is a force he created, in an uncontrolled area. These days, he has been relatively honest, and it seems that he has never left the kingdom of idols. Chi Feng hurried over according to the direction given by Shinos. Coincidentally, the idol king will hold a sacrifice today to kill and worship the idol. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Chapter 337. Harvest Statistics. Bitcoin Bank. Millionaire shows how she became wealthy. The fastest way to earn money shocks the world. Learn more. Chi Feng only knew when he came to the kingdom of idols that this place is at most a private domain. I think there are not many people under the idol king. On the face of it, only number 30 or 40 are serving him. Half of them are women, which shows that the elephant king is a greedy and lustful person. Master, I detected several mechanical forces nearby. It seems to be a helicopter. Shino suddenly said at this moment. Chi Feng didn't see any helicopters, but North should not be mistaken. There may be a helicopter here, or it may be behind the mountain. Look at the elephant king from here, backing the mountain behind, maybe the helicopter is on the other side of the mountain. At this moment, the idol king was standing on the stone altar, raising a black man with both hands to throw him off the altar. Idol king! Idol king! The shouting sounded quickly, one after another, although there were not many people, the voice was absolutely loud. At the moment when the god elephant king was most excited, when he was about to throw the person offering sacrifices in his hands, white lights from the sky shone on him, making him even more sacred. Shoo! It is a pity that these lights are not God's will, nor is it that the gods have opened their eyes, but the Indian army found the king of the gods and came to slay them. One by one missiles struck, and the elephant king had already ignored the sacrifice. He threw the man in his hand aside, and he jumped off the altar. Boom! A bright fire broke out from the altar, and it was directly blown up. The elephant king yelled, "Damn the military, I am not with you. Wait for lousy." At the good time of his sacrifice, he unexpectedly came out to interrupt. Although he is the most wanted man in the world, there is no need to do that. In fact, this is really necessary in the eyes of the military. If the idol king does not die for a day, India will have another day to change. If I kill the idol king, Yin Guo will be safer. The elephant king couldn't even take care of his subordinates. At this moment, he was running faster than a dog. As for the military helicopter, it was naturally impossible to catch up. FK, it's not over. Lousy can't help finding a quiet place and being disturbed. Is it really going to make me bloodbath the military? The idol king was panting and leaning against a boulder, surrounded by no grass. A piece of flat. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Idol king, it's been a long time since I saw you. Chi Feng's cold and faint voice sounded in the ear of idol king. Who? The elephant king turned around with a punch. Chi Feng raised his hand to catch the punch directly, then looked at the king of the gods and said, "You are so courageous, you dare to do it to me." Ah, it's you. After seeing Chi Feng, the idol king hurriedly retreated, almost frightening him. That's right, it's me. It seems that your old man has a good memory. Chi Feng smiled and looked at the idol king, while Shino stood by. Why are you here? By the way, I heard that you broke the Jimido Association in a few days ago. Ha ha ha, we will be all the same in the future. I don't want you to be like me and become the most wanted in the world. Crime. The king of gods was surprised at the appearance of Chi Feng at first, but now he feels that Chi Feng is the same as him, and he will be wanted by the whole world soon. Chi Feng's face turned gloomy, and he said coldly, "Don't compare me with someone like you. I tell you, I came to you this time to get some benefits, and you just saw that I didn't come here. See you, and didn't call me senior. It seems you don't know my horror anymore." No. No, at this moment, the king of gods realized that the current strength of the person in front of him should be able to kill him easily, so he immediately stepped forward and said, Senior, I just talked a lot, what do you have? Command. Chi Feng's expression eased a bit, and then he said, give me all the reagents that can improve the quirk in your body. In short, just give me the good things. After hearing this, the Elephant King was stunned for a moment, and then said with a bitter face, Senior, I don't have any reagents. You have also seen it. I was chased and beaten by the local military. It was very miserable. Don't talk nonsense, or come up with what I want, or disappear completely like the Jimaduo Association. Chi Feng said coldly, for a scum like the King of Gods, if he doesn't hand over what he wants, it can be killed directly. Okay, I'll give it. The Elephant King has never been so aggrieved. He was chased by the Indian military just now, and now he is blackmailed by such a terrifying guy. What did he do? That's all for me. If you want more, I can't take it out. The Elephant King took out the nano storage box and threw it to Chi Feng. Chi Feng raised his hand and fell into his own hand. About 50 tubes of E-type reagents and 140 tubes of W-type reagents. Chi Feng satisfactorily put them away and then said to King Shenxiang, usually do more good deeds and accumulate some virtue. Yes, what the predecessor said. The King of Gods nodded quickly. After Chi Feng got what he wanted, he Shinos quickly left. At present, the Indian military is hunting down the idol king. If they see him with idol king, they will definitely doubt it. This is why Chi Feng will be extremely powerful after the foundation is built, because he has ancient techniques. Now not only the government of Debay is looking for Chi Feng, but also the Super League is looking for Chi Feng. It's always only his idol king who snatches other people's things, when is it someone else's turn to snatch his things? Fortunately, he still has some spare valuables, otherwise it would be really miserable. Chi Feng doesn't want others to think that he and Shen Xiangwang are in the same foul play, so that it is not clear. The foundation of Chao Baichao was just an ordinary monk, and his foundation strength was at least several times that of Chao Baichao's foundation, because it would attract thunder. However, such a behemoth threatened to kill the Legend of Night, which is terrible. In fact, he was dripping blood in his heart. Those belongings were worth a lot of money when they were sold. They were actually taken away by such people. Legend has it that in the ancient times, when monks reached the foundation building period, they would attract thunder tribulation, but as time went on, the cultivators in the foundation building period would no longer feel the thunder tribulation, and could only feel the thunder tribulation when they cultivated to the golden alchemy period. Maybe even the island nation Imperial Alliance can't come up with these reagents for a while. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. These days, Chi Feng has obtained a lot of training resources. The E-type reagent adds up to 150 tubes, and the W-type reagent has more than 300 tubes, which can be said to be a good number. As long as the cultivation base is up, Chi Feng can be fearless of anyone in this world after successfully building the foundation. After all, he is different from Chao Baichao. Chi Feng is not stupid enough to go directly to the trouble of the Super League. He knows that his strength is not enough now. It is not just a simple upgrade of the quirk level, but the most important thing is to upgrade his cultivation base. Some forces hiding in the dark are also looking for Chi Feng, such as the Magic Hall and so on. One day later, even more shocking news spread. The U.S. Super League speaks about the legend and death of the Knight. The Super League is theoretically underground heroes, but in the U.S. land, the U.S. Imperial League and the Super League are similar. Even professional heroes have to give it to the Super League. Face. Advertise here. Chapter 338 The Taoist Temple in Memory. Advertise here. If Chi Feng wants to build a foundation in a short period of time, it is impossible in an island country, so he can only go to China at present, and find Shu too late, maybe he can get some unexpected gains. Of course, Chi Feng can only sneak past. Although he is from China, he is now on the list of various countries because of his big fights a few days ago. Although he is not a wanted person in the world, he is also considered a criminal. Even if there are people in this world who support you, think you are doing the right thing, and think you are just, it is useless. As long as it is in touch with the law, even if there are hundreds of millions of people supporting you, you are still breaking the law. Chi Feng belongs to the person who is supported and who breaks the law. Shinos was very excited when she knew that Chi Feng was going back to China. Her home was in China, and she didn't go back to see her doctor for some time, so she took this opportunity to go back. India is very close to China. Chi Feng spent 3 days returning to China. After arriving in China, Chi Feng met directly with Chao Baichao, who happened to be in China. Shi Nuosi and Chi Feng went to see the doctor after bidding farewell. Chi Feng is at Chao Baichao's home at the moment, and Chao Baichao's home is in Shushi, Hu province. I said that your kid can really toss you. Now all over the world is your news. The Super League and some forces are chasing you, but they dare not come to China. There are many strong people in China. Even if the Super League wants to obliterate you, don't dare to mess around in China. Chao Baichao took a bite of freshly peeled zongzi, which was warm. Chi Feng glanced at the house here in Chao Baichao. It was obviously a duplex building in the countryside, and it looked a bit old. Old Chow, your house looks so smelly. I haven't felt this feeling for a long time. It's rustic and it's all the taste of hometown. Chi Feng looked at the old house with some nostalgia. He was in this kind of family since he was young in his previous life. Only his mother took him. It happened that one spring, his master went down the mountain and traveled through the world. He happened to pass by Chi Feng's house and saw that Chi Feng had the roots of becoming a monk, so he took Chi Feng with him. The mountain began to cultivate. Chi Feng's mother was also liberated, and then disappeared. In short, in Chi Feng's impression, the outline of his mother is very vague. As for his father, he does not know who it is. Only his own master has a deep memory. Why did you grow up in China when you were young? Xiao Baichao said with some surprise. I thought you were born and raised in an island country. After hearing Xiao Baichao's words, Chi Feng suddenly stood up. If the earth of this world is exactly the same as that of the previous life, is it possible that his master's Taoism is still there? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Thinking of this, Chi Feng said directly to Xiao Baichao, I have something to go out. You are waiting for me here. Hold on. Xiao Baichao directly waved his hand to stop Chi Feng, and smiled maliciously. Your kid is in such a hurry, there is definitely something shameful, is there something good that I don't want me to know? In that case, you can go with me. Chi Feng directly rolled up Xiao Baichao and flew out, and said at the same time, remember to be invisible. Xiao Baichao immediately became invisible, but Chi Feng was able to roll him up like this, showing that his strength has already surpassed him a lot. Now Chi Feng is flying faster than airplanes, and it didn't take long for him to arrive in Wei City, Shaanxi province. This is Washan. Xiao Baichao was dumbfounded. He felt that it didn't take long for him to come to another province. The flying speed of Chi Feng was heaven-defying. Yes, it is Washan. Chi Feng rolled up the Chaobei Bridge and flew directly to a mountain on the edge of Washan. This place was so familiar to him that he could find it even with his eyes closed. When Chi Feng fell on the most familiar scene in his memory, his heart shook wildly. That's right, Taoist temples are exactly the same, everything is the same, but there is no one in this Taoist temple. Xiao Baichao looked around and found that there were all cliffs, and the position of this Taoist temple was just blocked by the mountain, which is equivalent to saying that it was a hidden Taoist temple hidden on the edge of Mount Hua. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. There was a brown pill lying quietly in the cassette. In addition to that, there was a book with the 4 characters, 1,000 turning ancient Jew, written on it. There is no other reason, it is because his own practice can only be practiced until the foundation stage, and he has no way of knowing the realm above the foundation stage, and he has no way of practicing, so the future achievements are also limited. But what? Xiao Baichao almost said Chi Feng but immediately asked, he really wanted to see this immortal cultivation technique. Chi Feng suspended the bed, knocked on the floor of the bed a few times, and a cassette appeared. When Chi Feng opened the cassette, he was very excited after seeing the contents. If this kind of immortal cultivation technique is left in the world, it will definitely set off stormy waves, even if a world war breaks out. And Chi Feng knows exactly what this brown pill is. This is the real Jiden. Chi Feng didn't answer Xiao Baichao's words, but walked into Taoist temple. When he stepped into Taoist temple, the familiar feeling instantly came to his heart, and everything inside became familiar. It's just that there is no trace of anyone's life here, as if this Taoist temple appeared out of thin air. All information about this Taoist temple is unknown. Xiao Baichao feels a bit dry in his throat. He is no longer thinking about why this is where Master Chi Feng lives. He just wants to know if he can practice the immortal cultivation technique. Chi Feng saw what Xiao Baichao meant, but slowed down his tone and said, Old Xiao, although this technique of cultivating immortals is not inherited from the ancestors, it is not something anyone can practice. You and I are also destined, so you want to practice. It's not impossible, but if Chi Feng's, thousands of ancient Jews, has a follow-up practice method during the foundation period, it is really a heaven-defying thing. Chi Feng walked to a house on the side in 3 or 2 steps. This was his master's room. The wooden cabinets and some items in the room remained unchanged. That's right, this is the technique he cultivates, and his master also practices this technique. Yes, to be precise, it is the immortal cultivation technique left by my master. Chi Feng slowly stood up and put the bed down gently. In the previous life, he hadn't had time to eat this stuff, and his foundation was completely destroyed. In this life, Chi Feng is really a hell of a ghost. In this world, he is exactly the same as his original world, and even the things left by his master are still here. Xiao Baichao rushed into the room where Chi Feng was. When he swept through the 8,000 revolutions ancient Jew, he was holding in Chi Feng's hand, his face suddenly changed, and then his voice trembled and said, This is the practice of cultivating immortals. Where is this? How do you know that there is Taoist temple here? Xiao Baichao can't figure it out. Chi Feng has become stronger in the past few years. According to his understanding, Chi Feng has always been in the island country, and even if Chi Feng is there. When China grows up, it is impossible to come to such a place, let alone know that there is a Taoist temple here. 12 Women That Redefined Asian Beauty. Ad. Chapter 339. Advertise here. Chi Feng looked at Xiao Baichao, who was in excitement, patted him on the shoulder and said, "No one can change the practice method at will, otherwise he will get into trouble. But the reason why my practice is called Chenjuan is because of this. He can allow anyone to practice without any barriers, which means that even if you have practiced your own techniques and want to practice the ancient judgment, it is okay." Really? Xiao Baichao was excited, his tone trembling. At his age, there is actually nothing to be happy about, but this kind of thing is the only thing he can't refuse, and it is what excites him most. It's true, but if you want to practice the ancient judgment of the ages, you have to recultivation, which means that your cultivation level will decline as you practice it. In the end, your cultivation level may only be stuck in the initial stage of Qi training. Chi Feng tells the truth. Chi Feng, the practice Xiao Baichao practiced, can feel that it is a very rubbish and inferior practice. It is very difficult for Xiao Baichao to practice until the foundation stage. It can be said that he has great perseverance and talent to cultivate to such a level. But as long as Xiao Baichao cultivates the ancient Ju of thousand revolutions, his cultivation level will plummet, because Xiao Baichao's original exercise method is too bad, and it will be directly compressed when encountering Chi Feng's ancient exercise method. There is a saying that concentration is the essence, Chi Feng's repair is the essence after concentration, and Xiao Baichao's repair is like compressed biscuits soaked in hot water, which is extremely vain. Sure enough, when Chi Feng finished speaking these words, Xiao Baichao was silent. He had cultivated for decades to reach this state. However, it was difficult for him to accept the fact that his cultivation was regressed. This is all the accumulation of time and years. If you go backwards and go backwards, it means that you have been practicing in vain over the past few decades. If you practice Chi Feng's ancient battle, it may not be possible to build a foundation after practicing Chi Feng. He cannot bear this kind of risk. That's why he hesitated. Chi Feng saw Xiao Baichao's hesitation and comforted him with words. "Old Xiao, I know what you think. You are afraid that you are getting older. If you have never been able to build a foundation when your life is near, you will die. Let me tell you the truth. Chenjuan ancient Ju's cultivation speed is very fast, at least several times faster than your original exercises, and your strength will be increased several times. For example, now, in the late 8th stage of my Qi training, it is easy to deal with you during the foundation building period by relying on the cultivation base. If I didn't guess wrong, your spiritual consciousness can only sweep about 10 meters, and I have already been 50 meters away. Now, when I build the foundation, I can see clearly at least 1 kilometer in radius. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. What are you talking about? Xiao Baichao's teeth were about to fall out of shock. Is this a showdown for Chi Feng? He actually told his secret, and it's so amazing. We were born and died together. I don't have to deceive you. Chi Feng turned around and walked outside the house after saying this. In the middle of the Taoist temple, there was a portrait of a man with a beard. Look, it smells like a fairy, but Chi Feng doesn't know who this person looks like so far, and his master hasn't told him before. But there is a mechanism behind this portrait. Chi Feng found the switch easily. The portrait and the stone wall behind turned together, and a gap was quickly exposed, just enough for one person to enter. Xiao Baichao followed Chi Feng in. There was nothing special in it, and there was no strong spiritual energy. There was only one bookshelf, and there were more than a dozen books on the bookshelf, all of which looked very old. Chi Feng came to the bookshelf, picked up one of them, and said, "This is the method of the imperial sword. As long as the foundation is built, the imperial sword can fly. This method of imperial sword can be completely learned. The speed of the imperial sword is based on the cultivation level. The power of the sword is powerful and changing. After practicing the ancient judgment, even in the initial stage of foundation building, the speed of the sword is like an airplane." Chi Feng didn't care about Xiao Baichao's surprised expression, and then picked up another book and said, "This is the basic alchemy method. After I build the foundation, if I can collect the alchemy spirit, I can try alchemy. As long as the alchemy is successful, the speed at which you build the foundation will rise in a straight line." Xiao Baichao has been completely moved. There is a better choice, why didn't he choose? "I practiced the ancient judgment of the ages." Xiao Baichao said. Even though he was old, he still distinguished the importance and importance, the master is the first. You are the heir of this Taoist temple, and naturally you are the big brother. Then I am naturally. Brother is here, please be respected by brother. Xiao Baichao knelt down as he said. Chi Feng stretched out his hand to support him and said, "I was not born in a family of cultivators, where there are so many rules. But you, brother, I recognize, starting today, you belong to the descendants of my line, although they are a bit older, but fortunately you have some talents, I will help you quickly build a foundation." "Thank you, brother." Xiao Baichao stood up, his tone excited. Chi Feng put the book back, and then the two of them exited the study. The stone figure returned to its original position. Chi Feng looked at Xiao Baichao and said, "Next, you can just practice here. I will help first. You change your practice, and I will leave after you get started." "Okay, it's all from brother." Xiao Baichao nodded and said. Chi Feng was a little uncomfortable with such a name, so he had to say, Don't call me brother in the future, just call it Chi Feng, as long as you know it in your heart. Okay. Xiao Baichao smiled, and then asked. Then when do we start? Now. Chi Feng took out the futon he had exchanged with Xiao Baichao before, and then asked Xiao Baichao to sit on it. Then he said. You open up your heart, I want to seal the trajectory of the exercises you practiced before, and then only then can you practice the ancient Ju of the Eternal Revolution. When you practice the Ju of the ancient Eternal Revolution, the trajectory of the exercises that I sealed will be naturally compressed, and in the end you will only leave the trajectory of the exercise of the ancient Ju of the Eternal Revolution. Okay, I'll open up my heart now. Xiao Baichao sat cross-legged, closed his eyes and opened up his heart. At this time, Chi Feng slapped Xiao Baichao's back and began to block his movement trajectory. Of course, it would be uncomfortable for Xiao Baichao to do this, but there is no way, there is no shortcut to do anything, only through sweat can we get rewards. Xiao Baichao opened his heart in this way, clenching his teeth and holding on. He didn't know that after a long time, he seemed to lose consciousness. Okay, you can now practice the ancient judgment. Chi Feng wiped the sweat from his forehead, and he was also very tired. Xiao Baichao woke up in a daze, and said excitedly, Is it all right? Can I practice? It's okay, but you have to remember that only the two of us can know this exercise, and no third party can know it. This is a copy, and you can practice according to it. Chi Feng took out a copy in the ancient judgment. Give the exact same book to Xiao Baichao. Xiao Baichao took it without any hesitation. After opening the book, he found that it was the same as the one he had seen before, so he started to watch it carefully. In this Taoist temple, there are two ancient battles from the ancient times. One is passed down from the ancient times, and the other is a copy. It was made by his master at the time. Now it happens to be practiced by Xiao Baichao. As for the ancient battles from the ancient times, Chi Feng only it will be kept by one person, and it is impossible to give it to Xiao Baichao, even if Xiao Baichao is already a descendant of this place. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Chapter 340. Bitcoin Bank. A young millionaire explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. Chi Feng didn't disturb Xiao Baichao's cultivation, and left directly from Taoist temple. This place is surrounded by mountains. Only those who enter can discover this Taoist temple, otherwise it is impossible for anyone to discover it. Chi Feng already knows the face of this world in his heart. Except for those with supernormal abilities, that is, those with quirks, other environmental factors are exactly the same as those in his previous life, basically there is no difference. Therefore, people with supernormal abilities have changed this world, otherwise this world will be no different from Chi Feng's previous life. At this time, Xiao Baichao had completely integrated into the Thousand Revolutions ancient judgment. When he integrated into it, he realized that the exercises he had practiced before were simply scum, and it was too rubbish. This Thousand Revolutions ancient judgment can be said to be a peerless technique. He has completely overturned his understanding of cultivation just after watching it for a while. This is a huge system, and cultivation of immortality is not a trifling matter. Why did Xiao Baichao run around in foreign and domestic places in recent years? It was because of looking for cultivation resources and treasures of wealth. However, after so many years, wealth was there, but nothing about cultivation was encountered. The only thing I encountered was the practice futon found in the small world, and he was sitting under his ass at the moment. The reason why Chi Feng used the futon for Xiao Baichao is because just changing the exercise requires a lot of spiritual energy. This futon can just replace the legendary spiritual stone for cultivation, so I used it for Xiao Baichao first. At this moment, Chi Feng is on his way to Shushan. If he wants to increase his strength to the strongest in the world, he must upgrade his cultivation to the foundation stage. As long as he reaches the foundation stage, the Super League is nothing to Chi Feng. But it's not easy to build a foundation in this world. It took a qualified person like Xiao Baichao decades to cultivate to this level, and if it weren't for Chi Feng's Chi training, Xiao Baichao would even break through the foundation building period. Impossible. It can be seen that it is difficult to cultivate immortals, and the road is long and long. Therefore, Chi Feng will not let go of any news, anything that allows him to build a foundation. In China, the traces of immortality cultivation can be found most, even if it is cleanly obliterated by history, some clues can be found. When Chi Feng came to Shushan, he actually felt aura here, although meager, it is indeed aura. Only he can discover this aura. As for ordinary people, traveling here can only feel that the environment is better, and the air is unusually fresh. Chi Feng observed at the foot of the Shu Mountain before rising from the ground, turning into the air and flying towards the heights of the Shu Mountain. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Here, Chi Feng sweeps out the spiritual consciousness, he sweeps almost all the corners that he can sweep, and then flies away relative to the stronger aura. After half an hour, Chi Feng looked up and down the mountain of Shu. There are no people living in seclusion except those who come to travel, and there is no Taoist inheritance. The only problem is in the mountain. On the partial peak of the mountain, it is higher there, but there is nothing but natural plants. However, Kai Feng does not believe in evil. Since Kaido said that Shu Too Late was from Shu Mountain, he must have been in Shu Mountain. He had also searched for it at the foot of the mountain. They were all ordinary residents, and there was nothing relatively sensitive. When he came to this partial peak, Kai Feng's spiritual sense immediately swept out. The area is at least nearly 1,000 square meters, the mountains and rocks are rugged, and there is nothing to see with the naked eye. But after Kai Feng's careful observation, the aura leaked from here. There are no spiritual veins, nor spiritual grass and spiritual stones, so the only explanation is that there may be a formation here, which is used to isolate the outside world. The master of Kai Feng's previous life did not know how to make alchemy, but he still had some understanding of the formation, so Kai Feng also had some insights about the formation, but he could not arrange the formation because the cultivation base had not yet reached the foundation stage. It seems that there is a formation here. Kai Feng muttered to himself as he looked at the front, because he felt the fluctuations in front of him. This kind of fluctuation is man-made fluctuations, which means that someone is looking at him in the formation at this moment. However, Kai Feng can't see anything, only a green plant. You can't find a place to break through the iron shoes. It takes no effort. Kai Feng laughed, then stepped forward and clasped his fists. Next, Kai Feng, come to visit a friend of Shushan, please come out to see you. Although Kai Feng was calm on the surface, he was very shocked in his heart, because those who can establish formations in the ordinary world, at least during the foundation period, or the formations handed down from ancient times, were occupied by others. No matter whether it is occupied or not, Kai Feng does not dare to underestimate him. If it were not for his current strength, he might not dare to say these things here. Kai Feng more or less guessed the more secret side of this world, which was even more secret than those hidden god-level powerhouses. That's the matter of the cultivation world. This kind of thing is almost inaudible in this world. It can be said that you can't find anything about cultivating immortality, except in the novel. Kai Feng waited for 5 minutes with his fists on the spot, but he didn't see any response. He frowned and continued to speak. I came from afar, don't my friends even give me this face. There is only the sound of the wind blowing, and the loud shouts of tourists from afar. Apart from that, Kai Feng's eyes are still calm. Kai Feng stood up straight. Since people don't want to come out to see him, he is the only one to find someone else. So Kai Feng finally said, I can't run for nothing this trip. Since my friend is hiding away, then I can only force you to see. When the voice fell, Kai Feng had a right hand, and a red long sword appeared in his hand instantly. Kai Feng did not use the quirk, but took out half of his yuan li, and slashed it towards the front, full of red. A burst of breath rushed out quickly. Boom. Sure enough, when Kai Feng's sword slashed forward, it was blocked by something transparent, which is the so-called formation. This sword Kai Feng is just a test, so the power is average, but the fluctuations in front are a bit fierce. After Kai Feng finished the sword, he hung the sword on his back and did not continue to use it because he had already seen someone come out. Up. A hole was split in the somewhat volatile formation that Kai Feng split, and 2 young people walked out of the hole. When the 2 of them walked out of the formation behind them returned to calm again. At this time, Kai Feng's heart was both excited and shocked. As he thought, this world is not only Chao Baichao who can practice, the real masters live in seclusion and do not care about the world. Looking at the attire of these 2 men in front of them, there was no difference at all from his previous life in the Taoist temple of the master. They had long hair and frizzled hair, wearing a gray Taoist gown, and they looked plain and unremarkable. After the 2 came out, their faces were a little cold. One of them pulled out the long sword behind his back and pointed at Kai Feng and shouted, Where is my friend, why attack our guard? Kai Feng clasped his fists and smiled. It was mine just now, but I have said it several times at your door and asked you to come out to see me, but you can't come out. It's really like this. The 2 of them have seen Kai Feng in the guards for a long time, but they didn't want to take care of them at all. No one would find out in a place like them at all. They just think it's strange. Why would an outsider know there is formation? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. What is the most common plastic surgery in Korea? Ad. Exploring the truth behind celebrities' radiant smiles. Ad. Chapter 341. Advertise here. According to what you mean, if you ask us to come out, we must come out. The sword-holding man sneered. Your Excellency has some strength, but I advise you to leave here as well. We never set foot in the world, and we don't know each other. Your Excellency, please don't ask for trouble. Kai Feng laughed, put aside the etiquette in his hand, and no longer said politely, You 2 have a 3rd level Chi training and a 2nd level Chi training. You have just stepped into the world of practice. You don't have the skills, but are you really good at it? Quote. Can you see our cultivation level? The sword-holding man and the other man at the 2nd level of Chi practice both froze, and said in shock. The other party can see their cultivation level, and they seem to be very disdainful. It seems that the cultivation level is higher than theirs, at least it is a master at the early stage or even the middle stage of Chi training. How difficult is this? Chi Feng said with disdain, and then took the red long sword behind his back, inserted it on the ground and asked, "Do you know this sword?" The man with the sword followed Chi Feng's gaze. The next moment he was shocked, and he directly shouted, "Why is the red crack sword in your hand? Who are you?" The other man also drew his long sword and pointed at Chi Feng. "Don't get excited, let alone point at me with your sword. You two are not my opponents, and I am not here to find the difference," Chi Feng said with a stern hand. "Go and inform your master, I want to see him." "Brother, please inform the master, I am staring at him here." Obviously this senior knows that he is not Chi Feng's opponent, so he stares here first. Of course, the other party dare not act rashly. This is not the secular world, but Shushan. The man on the second floor of Chi training immediately ran in. It didn't take long for another 4 people to walk out. The head was an old man about the same age as Chao Baichao. His hair had fallen out, but his beard was a lot. Chi Feng got after Ji sweeping over, he immediately knew his cultivation base, building the 4th basement, that is, just entering the middle stage of the foundation building. On the right side of the old man, there is a man with a Chinese character face. In the late stage of the 8th level of Chi training, he belongs to the same level as Chi Feng. Then on the left side, there is a woman who looks pretty good. Danfeng's eyes and facial features are all standard, but she looks a little cold and doesn't allow anyone to enter. She is practicing Chi in the 6th level. The one standing at the end was the 2nd level Chi Lianqi disciple who went in to report before. As soon as the 3 of them came out, Chi Feng felt so little pressure. "Are you attacking my Yinmen?" The man with the Chinese character face standing on the right side of the old man stared at Chi Feng and asked. "Big brother, don't ask this first, look at the sword next to him." The 3rd level sword holding disciple put away the long sword in his hand and looked at the big brother. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Obviously, except for the big brother staring at Chi Feng at first, both the old man and the woman noticed the sword beside Chi Feng. Before the big brother could speak, the old man said directly, "Little friend, this sword belongs to my Yin sect. Where did you get it? Old Dao, how did this sword get out of your Yin sect, don't you know it yourself?" Chi Feng is puzzled, Shu Taiwan should be from their Yin sect, why they themselves don't even know about it. Be careful when you speak, and don't blame me if you dare to talk nonsense. The big brother stepped forward and said with a compelling momentum. This outsider dared to call him a master, it was so impolite. Chi Feng shrugged indifferently, which meant that Laozi was not afraid of you. The old man was not angry, and said calmly, "Please let me know." Chi Feng was satisfied with his attitude, so he said, "This sword should be taken out by Yu Yinman Shu too late, and then it was snatched by the local imperial powerhouse in Digyu. As far as I know, Shu is too late. Isn't it dead, isn't it in your Yin sect? Sure enough, this beast did it. I thought that the red crack sword had been in the Yin sect. It turned out to be taken out by this beast." Senior brother said angrily. Little junior sister's face also changed, but she didn't speak. At this time, the old man looked at Chi Feng and said, "It seems that we had some misunderstanding just now, my little friend, please." Chi Feng was not afraid that these people would cheat, and walked directly in. When everyone entered the gap of the formation, everything here was calm again, as if nothing was normal. There is a cave inside the formation. There is a Taoist temple in it, which is much larger than Chi Feng's. There is a subjective view here, the rest are rooms, and there is a Buddhist scripture pavilion. In this Taoist temple, Chi Feng glanced at it casually. There were only a dozen people. It is estimated that there are only so many people in the entire Yin Gate. The aura in it is relatively strong, but it is far behind the small world. I didn't expect that this world really has a door to the world. I thought that there is no one about cultivating immortals in this world. Chi Feng exclaimed. Dao friends don't make false claims. We are just cultivators. We don't dare to think about things like immortal cultivation. After knowing that he had a misunderstanding with Chi Feng, he became a Dao friend, although he couldn't see the other's cultivation level. But he knew that this outsider had also practiced, otherwise it would be impossible to touch their guard. It seems that your inheritance is the same. Chi Feng smiled and followed the old man into the Taoist temple. The senior brother was so angry that he couldn't speak, and the little junior sister on the side comforted him. Brother, judging from the person's words and deeds, there are some backgrounds, we might as well go in and take a look. Senior sister is right. We hardly set foot in the world, and we should learn some external things from this person. The senior brother nodded and walked into the Taoist temple with the little junior sister. Little friends, please sit down. The old man stretched out his hand and made a please gesture. Chi Feng said after sitting down, you can call me Yin Sect Master. Next to Chi Feng, Master Yin, are you the only hidden door hidden in the world on Shu Mountain? Since Chi Feng opened this new door and saw the immortal cultivators besides him and Xiao Baichao, it is natural be clear. Ha 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 Chi Xiao you joked, I am a hidden door, at best, it is a legacy of Taoism. I live here following the steps of my ancestors. The Master Yin sect laughed mockingly. Chi Feng frowned and asked, if even the Master Yin is not a hidden door, then what is a hidden door? Is there no hidden door in this world? Not so. The Yin sect master suddenly became serious, and said solemnly, "There are many powerful practitioners in the hidden door. Although I don't know much about it, I know that there is a real hidden door on the Shu Mountain. There are many inside, Master." Chi Feng was startled, and immediately asked, "Then I have been around Shushan for so long, why did I just find your place and not the hidden door? It's weird if you can find it. Even my master can't find it. If you can find it, how can it be called a hidden door?" Senior brother can't listen anymore. The outsider seems to know nothing. If the hidden door is so easy to find, then is it still called the hidden gate? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. The hidden messages in Whale's family photos. Ad. Chapter 342 Spiritual Marrow and Hidden Door News. Bitcoin Bank. A young millionaire explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. Chi Feng didn't get angry because of the words of the national character face. In fact, what he said makes sense. If it is so easy to find, then it is not a hidden door. The Yin sect master, is there any way to find the hidden door? Chi Feng clasped his fists to the Yin sect master. As long as he finds the hidden door, the cultivation resources there are definitely not comparable to the outside world, so he can quickly improve his cultivation. Little friend Chi, I have lived here for 123 years, and I went out to the outside world only 5 times in total. In these 5 times, I also tried to find the hidden door of Shushan, but still to no avail, but I can be sure that Shushan there is definitely a hidden gate, because this is recorded by my master's master, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with it. After the Yin sect master said this, he began to change the subject. There is no need to talk about the hidden gate. This time Xiao Yuqi can find me and find my Yin sect's red crack sword, which means you are with us Yin. The door is destined. Yuan Gai, go get a drop of spiritual essence and give it to Xiao Yuqi. The Yin sect master ordered Gujilian to get something. Lu Yuan Gai's face changed when he heard the words, and he immediately said, "Master, even a drop of spiritual essence is incalculable. Did you send it out like this? No need to say more, go get it." The Yin sect master's tone increased a little. "Master, think carefully," Lu Yuan Gai said reluctantly. "Brother, if you continue speaking, the master will be unhappy, I will accompany you to take it." The younger sister stood up and helped senior brother Lu Yuan Gai to rise. Lu Yuan Gai had no choice but to walk out of Taoist temple and get the spirits for Chi Feng. Chi Feng is not a soil bun. He naturally knows what the spirit marrow is. This is a good thing that can greatly increase the cultivation level. In a way, it is better than the spirit stone, but there is only 1 drop. Don't be surprised, Xiao Yuqi, even I have only 5 drops of spiritual marrow, and now I can't find the spiritual marrow, even if there is one, it was taken away by the hidden door. Lu Yuan Gai sighed. It is also very helpless. Chi Feng politely said. Sect Master Yin joked, I originally came here to return the spirit weapon, and then I wanted to see if there are any immortal cultivators in this world besides me. I never thought that there really were. Listening to Chi Feng talking about this, the Yin sect master asked in amazement, isn't Xiao Yuqi from a family of cultivators, or some heritage? By the way, I don't know how Xiao Yuqi is, why can't I tell? Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. It's weird if you can see it. Chi Feng contemptuously said in his heart that his cultivation technique is not a normal technique. Concealing the cultivation base is the most basic one. Even if the world has a golden elixir stage, it can't be seen. What is his current cultivation base? I was brought into Taoism practice by my master since I was a child, and it is considered to have inherited some kind of inheritance, but in my impression, there are no other immortal cultivators in this world. After my master sat down, I only left me alive until today. Only then did I know that I seemed to be a frog at the bottom of the well. Chi Feng said his true thoughts. Whether in the previous life or in this life, he thought that he was the only one who could cultivate immortals. It was not until the appearance of Xiao Baichao that he felt that the world was not that simple. There may be many people like Xiao Yuqi in this world who think that they are the only ones who have embarked on this path of cultivation, but not necessarily. There are many hidden gates and hidden families in this world, but they never set foot in the world, even if they set foot in the world. They are also extremely low-key, and almost no one can find their existence. Yin sect master touched the beard on his chin and then said, this world is changing too fast. If you practice outside, it will affect Dao Xin, and today's world is already a world of supernormal people, among which the strength of the top power is stronger than mine. There are a lot of things, unless someone from the hidden door takes action, otherwise this world is still a world of supernormal people. For the top-level powerhouse that Yin sect master said is better than him, Chi Feng deeply believes that, regardless of the Yin sect's main cultivation base is building the 4th floor, just take the current Chi Feng, just relying on cultivation base. Defeat the Yin sect master. Yes, in the late stage of the 8th level of Qi training, defeated the 4th level of the base building. This sounds ridiculous, but in fact it is true. This Yin sect master is at best a little stronger than Xiao Baichao in the foundation period, and only a little bit. Jiayu, send a gift to Xiao Yuqi. The Yin sect master nodded to the junior sister Tong Jiayu, expressing his acquiescence. Lord Yin sect stay, and this junior sister will send me off. Chi Feng smiled, and then looked at the little junior sister who was standing aside. Thank you Yin sect master. Chi Feng accepted the porcelain vase's heartfelt gratitude, and at the same time returned the red cracked sword to Yin sect master, which was regarded as a good destiny. Chi Feng and Yin sect master talked for a long time in a simple way. Chi Feng learned about people who cultivate like Yin sect master. Quirk is just tasteless to them, and some people don't even have quirk, just pure practice. The Yin sect master did not blame Lu Yuangai face to face, but to Chi Feng euphemistically, little friend Chi, although I am not a hidden gate here, I have never been outsiders, so it is not very convenient to stay here overnight. I'll send you off. Yin sect master said politely. Chi Feng stood up immediately, his spiritual consciousness swept into the porcelain bottle, and a drop of cyan water droplet lay quietly on the bottom of the bottle. Chi Feng knew that this was the essence. Seeing that Chi Feng had obtained the spirit, Lu Yuangai snorted softly, although it was subtle, it was still heard by Chi Feng and Yin sect master. Even if his eldest disciple Lu Yuangai is now 25 years old, he has been practicing with him since he was a child, and he can only practice to this point, while Chi Feng is only a few years old, and it seems that he has not even reached the age of 18. Good job. Yin sect master smiled, then got up and handed the porcelain bottle to Chi Feng. Give this to you, thank you for finding the red crack sword for me. After a lot of talk, Chi Feng has already understood the system and distribution of cultivators in this world. In short, he can't see the people of the hidden family and the people of the hidden family, unless they meet in the secular world. With his current cultivation base, it is impossible to find the hidden door. This meant that it was a chasing away. Chi Feng clasped his fists and said, thank you for the host of Yinmen. I have gained a lot today and I am leaving. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. At this time, Lu Yuangai walked in with a porcelain bottle and handed the porcelain bottle to the Master Yin. Master, I brought the things. Of course, Chi Feng also showed his cultivation level in front of the master of the Yin family. The master of the Yin family was surprised and inexplicable. The master of Chi Feng should have disappeared very early, leaving him alone in the secular world and living in the superordinary world. At the same time, it is a genius to be able to cultivate to the 8th stage of Qi training under such circumstances. Sect Master Yin knows that it is good to deal with geniuses like Chi Feng. Even Lu Yuangai is not as good as Chi Feng. The gap is a bit big. Tong Jiayu looked at Chi Feng a little strangely, and it was even more strange how her master would agree to let her send the outsider. People like Chi Feng who are not only strong in quirk, but also strong in cultivation, are unique in this world. Chapter 343, Cultivation. Bitcoin Bank. A young millionaire explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. Master. Lu Yuangai looked at Sect Master Yin puzzledly. I think you should also go out and take a walk in the secular world. Your vision is too narrow. You may learn something useful outside. From tomorrow, you can go on the road alone. The Yin Sect Master turned to himself after speaking. He walked to the room without paying attention to Lu Yuangai's expression. Lu Yuangai was dumbfounded. He once wanted to take his junior sister out and was stopped by his master. He didn't let him go. Today he actually agreed to go out of the mountain, but he was only allowed to go out alone. What's the matter? Is it because of this outsider? Your name is Jiayu. Chi Feng came to the door but didn't go out directly, but asked the younger sister around him. Does it have anything to do with you? Tong Jiayu said coldly, and didn't mean to chat with Chi Feng. Chi Feng smiled and asked, Sister Jiayu, leave a mobile phone number, or a WeChat account is fine. Tong Jiayu looked at Chi Feng like a fool. There is no landline here, where is the mobile phone? Chi Feng was stunned for a moment. He actually ignored this matter. Although the Yin Gate is not a hidden door, it is also isolated from the world. Basically, little information is known from the outside world, so you can listen to the radio at most. This is my mobile phone number. Call me if you have something to do. Chi Feng raised his hand and took out a piece of paper and pen, wrote down his international number, and handed it to Tong Jiayu. Tong Jiayu did not reach out to pick it up, but his master's voice came from the Taoist temple, Jiayu. Tong Jiayu unhappily accepted the phone number left by Chi Feng. When Chi Feng saw Tong Jiayu put away the phone number, he stepped forward to the outside world. At the same time, he said, So Sister Jiayu, there will be a period later. Damn it. Tong Jiayu looked at Chi Feng who disappeared before her eyes, her teeth itchy. After Chi Feng left Yinmen, he turned into air and disappeared in place. He wanted to go back to see how Chao Baichao's practice was. As for the hidden door in Shushan, Chi Feng didn't plan to look for it anymore, because his cultivation level was not enough at the moment. Let him find the hidden door. When Chi Feng came back, Chao Baichao was practicing Chenjuan Guju. However, Chao Baichao did not realize that Chi Feng had returned during his deep-level training. At this moment, Chao Baichao's cultivation level has been reduced to the 3rd level of Qi training. Continue to land the repair base down. These are all normal phenomena. The thousand transcendence of the ancients is to make Chao Baichao rebuild, reduce the cultivation base to zero, and make his strength stronger and stronger, not virtual strength. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chi Feng didn't disturb Chao Baichao's practice. He walked back to the room and closed the door, and then used the 10,000 saving points to draw a lottery, and exchanged for a lot of Chi training pills. In the end, Chi Feng took out the spiritual marrow given to him by the insect master, wrapped the drop of spiritual marrow with air, and then sent it into the mouth. A violent spiritual power instantly filled Chi Feng's body. Chi Feng didn't have time to think about sitting cross-legged, and at the same time opened his mouth to swallow a Chi pill and began to practice. Under the operation of Qian Zhuanji Yuju, the spiritual power in Chi Feng's body instantly transformed into cultivation base, and his strength was rising. The thin aura around him also began to converge here. With the abundance of aura, Chi Feng completely entered a state of selfless cultivation. At the same time, in a certain location in Washan, there are no humans or traces of life, but within a certain zero boundary, there is another cave. At this moment, within this zero boundary point, there is another world. In this world is the hidden door that Yin Sect Master said, the true hidden door in Washan. Yu Yao, go and see what's going on outside. I feel that there is a problem with the spiritual energy in the sect. In the huge room, a middle-aged woman was sitting on the futon, closing her eyes and practicing. She is the contemporary head of the Washan Hidden Gate, Hua Nianyan. Yes. A woman walked over from the side, her eyebrows were clear, her nose was high, like a fairy in a picture scroll, perhaps in the eyes of mortals, this is a fairy. Her name is Li Yuyao. After hearing what the master said, she exited the room. At this moment, she ran into a man who had very thin eyebrows and looked like he was normal. His lips were also very thin. In addition to that, she had a pair of eyebrows. Triangular eyes, these eyes ruin the overall beauty. Sister Yuyao, where are you going in such a hurry? The man asked with a smile. Li Yuyao glanced at the man flatly, and said in a flat tone, Senior Brother Chi, the head has asked me to observe the sudden movement of spiritual energy, so I won't talk to you much. So that's the case, the younger sister, please. Senior Brother Chi looked at Li Yuyao's leaving back, a trace of greed flashed in his eyes, but he quickly disappeared from his eyes. It is not the first time that Li Yuyao has left the sect. Although they are said to be hidden doors, people in hidden doors need to get the consent of the head in addition to setting foot in the world, and they will not be criticized when they usually hang out near Washan. Because all the people in the hidden gate can stealth, although this spell is relatively low-end, it is enough to hide it from ordinary people who come to travel. After Li Yuyao opened the sect guard, he disappeared and floated away. At the beginning of her 9th level of Chi training, although she did not know how to fly, gliding was a breeze for her. There are many people who come to visit Washan this season. There are people from all countries in the world, but most of them are Chinese. Because of the large population of China, many people do not have the opportunity to visit these places of interest. Once it's the holiday, it's a crowded scene. Although the precautions have been done well for the cliffs of Washan, some people still feel worried because the mountain is too high. Standing on a mountain peak somewhere, Li Yuyao carefully felt the direction of the spiritual energy around him. Although it was subtle, he could still feel it. Washan has auras, but most of them are in the sect, where there is a long-standing spirit lock array, which just locks the aura of Washan and uses it for the cultivation of the disciples in the sect. But because of the long time, the spirit locking array has become a little unstable, and aura leaks out from time to time, but the direction of the aura still revolves around the Washan Hidden Gate. I don't know why these days, this immutable aura has started to change, so the head Hua Nianyan felt it for the first time. I thought it was an illusion, but after a few days, this aura is moving more and more frequently. It means that the outside world has changed. Li Yuyao looked at the aisles filled with tourists with some headaches. She could easily find the spiritual energy direction, but this season, she has nothing to do. If she can expose herself, she won't have to work so hard, she can directly walking among tourists. However, this is unrealistic. Her appearance is different from those of internet celebrities in the world. No matter how beautiful an internet celebrity is, she lacks charm. She has cultivated for many years, and her temperament has long surpassed ordinary people by dozens of times, or even hundreds times. If you show up rashly, you will definitely be taken crazy, and then uploaded to the internet, as well as major apps, such as a certain hand, a certain tone, a certain B station. It's all possible, and this is also the rule set by the head Hua Nianyan, not to touch mortals, let alone show up in front of mortals, unless they are disguised. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Chapter 344 Washan Hidden Gate. Bitcoin Bank. Millionaire shows how she became wealthy. The fastest way to earn money shocks the world. Learn more. Li Yuyao could only pass on some slanting fronts, and it took some time to avoid the crowd. At this time, the aura became stronger and stronger. Chao Baichao opened his eyes suddenly, and he looked at his body in disbelief. A faint layer of dirt appeared on his body, indicating that there were impurities in his body that had not been discharged, but now he was discharged again. You must know that he had already drained the dirt once when he was building the foundation, and now he has changed the cultivation method, and after the cultivation base has been compressed, it is only now that he has truly practiced the Chenjuan Guju. It was already at the first level of foundation building, but now he has directly regressed to the fourth level of Qi training. He has just entered the middle stage of Qi training. Maybe no one will believe it. And now his spiritual consciousness has not decreased, but has increased. Sweep out. It can reach about 13 meters later. After going to the dust, Xiao Baichao's body was a little cleaner, and he quickly put on a new Taoist robe. At this time, he felt that he was younger, probably because of the cultivation technique. It's a good thing, my old Xiao also has this opportunity. Xiao Baichao said with emotion. Originally, he was still working hard to build a foundation, but because of a workplace experience, he strengthened a heaven-defying person like Chi Feng. He felt that Chi Feng was not a thing in the pool, and in the end, it only took a long time before he soared into the sky. Divine consciousness swept around in the Taoist temple, and Xiao Baichao realized that Chi Feng was practicing. When he saw the movement of Chi Feng's practice, he was also shocked. The traces of spiritual energy and white mist were almost forming substance. It can be seen that Chi Feng, the horror of cultivation is that he did not have such a horror in his cultivation for thousands of years. Chi Feng's aptitude is indeed better than Xiao Baichao, and it is not a little bit good, but the phenomenon of spiritual Qi becoming silky is not because of these reasons, but because of the spiritual essence and Qi pill. Xiao Baichao took a breath and walked out of the Taoist temple. He came to the resting platform only a dozen meters in front of him, looking at the blue sky, a little fascinated. Who's here? At the next moment, Xiao Baichao felt the fluctuations around him, and his consciousness swept out immediately. Then he found a vague figure, but he didn't show his real body, so he didn't know who it was. Li Yuyao was shocked. She felt that the spiritual energy fluctuates greatly here, so she came to take a look. Who knew that there was a concave platform on the mountain? A Taoist temple stood quietly here. What surprised her even more was that there are people living in this Taoist temple, and he is still an old man in his 60s and 70s. Show me, I've found you, Xiao Baichao said indifferently, and took out Buddha Chen at the same time. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Li Yuyao's figure suddenly appeared, standing a dozen meters away from Xiaobei Bridge, and then said in a flat voice, "Who are you? Is this Taoist temple yours?" Xiao Baichao saw that it was a woman, and she was so beautiful, but he couldn't see the cultivation of this woman, and he couldn't even feel the quirk fluctuations. Answer me first, who are you? Xiao Baichao didn't tell Li Yuyao about Taoism here. This is Master Chi Feng's site. How could he talk nonsense? Li Yuyao frowned slightly. This old man was obviously a monk and had already reached the middle stage of Qi training. Although his aura was a bit unstable, according to the fluctuation of his body, the strength of this fourth-level Qi training old man was not weak. But she was surprised. Washan should have only one hidden door, the hidden door where she is. Then when did this Taoist temple come out? I can't tell you where I came from. I was only ordered to come and investigate. I didn't expect to find you. Seeing that Li Yuyao couldn't ask anything, she wanted to leave. Just go back and report the incident to the head. As for other things, she doesn't have to worry about it, the head has her own decision. Are you a cultivator? Xiao Baichao asked tentatively. He could feel the spiritual energy in this woman, but could not feel the quirk fluctuations, which meant that this woman was probably like him, a cultivator. Cultivator. Li Yuyao sneered, you are a fourth-level Qi training, and you are embarrassed to say that you are a cultivator. Dao Dao is heaven-defying, and above Dao is immortal, why can't it be called Shushan? At this moment, Chi Feng walked out of Taoist temple. Although his tone was plain, he was extremely surprised in his heart. Because the woman in front of her is not only beautiful, but her cultivation level is actually on the 9th level, which is exactly the same realm as he is now. You must know that he has eaten a few spirits and Qi training pills these days in retreat, and his cultivation level has broken through to the 9th level of Qi training, but this suddenly appeared woman's cultivation level is so high. Someone else. Li Yuyao became more surprised this time. He didn't pay attention to the appearance of Chi Feng at all. If you know that she has 9 levels of Qi training, she knows that there are insects flying around here, but such a big one. She hadn't noticed the person for a while, which shows how powerful this person is. The most important thing is that she couldn't see Chi Feng's cultivation level clearly, and it seemed that she couldn't see through it, but Li Yuyao knew that Chi Feng hadn't built the foundation yet, because the monks' aura during the foundation period fluctuated differently. Brother, I feel better now than before. Xiao Baichao saw Chi Feng leaving the customs and walked over excitedly. You call him brother? Li Yuyao was dumbfounded. A 60 or 70-year-old man actually called a young man who seemed to be only 20 years old. What kind of seniority should this be? And according to the current cultivation environment, the older the cultivation. The higher you are, although you still need to look at your qualifications and cultivation resources, it is impossible for a teenager to be a senior. Is there any problem? Chi Feng smiled, then stepped forward and looked at Li Yuyao. If I didn't guess wrong, you should be from Washan Hidden Gate. A murderous intent flashed in Li Yuyao's eyes when she heard the words, her tone suddenly turned cold and said, although I don't know where the two of you come from, the hidden door thing cannot be leaked to the common world. This is the rule for thousands of years. Now that you have guessed my origin, you can only die. What? She is from the hidden gate. Xiao Baichao opened his mouth wide. He naturally knew about the hidden gate. It was a legend. When he was young, he also traveled to the north and south of Dashuan, but there were some signs of the hidden gate. I can't find it, or even record it. Now he is in his 70s and 80s, he actually saw the real hidden doorman, the hidden door. In the legend, there is an existence above the foundation stage, and it is said that it has long been extinct in the world. Chi Feng ignored Xiao Baichao, who was in shock, but looked at Li Yuyao and said, "Do you think the hidden gate thing is very mysterious? I am also a cultivator, so I can naturally know about the hidden gate, but I haven't been there, just because I guessed that you belong to the hidden door, so you want to kill us." Li Yuyao was suddenly choked by Chi Feng's words. Yes, the other party seemed to have known the hidden door, but he hadn't been there, and it was impossible to find his hidden door in Mount Hua, so they were not guilty at all. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Top 10 sexiest Indian girls. Who's your favorite? Ad. Exploring the truth behind celebrities' radiant smiles. Ad. Chapter 345. Who gave you the confidence? Advertise here. It's just two casual cultivators in the secular world. They dare to talk to junior sister Yu Yao like this. Even if junior sister Yu Yao doesn't kill you, I will kill you. At this moment, a voice came from a distance, and a figure fell in front of Li Yuyao. Brother Chi, why are you here? The boss only asked me to come out. Li Yuyao was a little panicked. She didn't really want to kill Chi Feng and Xiao Baichao. It was also to scare these two ignorant guys, who knowing that Brother Chi came at this time. Sister Yuyao, I have asked the boss for instructions, and she agrees to come out. Senior Brother Chi smiled at Li Yuyao, then looked at Chi Feng and Xiao Baichao and said, "You two set up privately on my Washan site. Taoist temple, and I already know where my hidden door is. In order to prevent the hidden door things from flowing into the world, I am here today to punish you too. Don't blame me, you can only blame you for not having eyes. Senior Brother Chi, we have no reason to kill them. What about it? Let's go back and report to the head. Li Yuyao can't see the blood. She has lived in the hidden gate for more than 20 years and has never killed anyone. This is what happened today. To put it bluntly, it was all because of him, so she was very guilty now. When this man came over, Chi Feng knew the opponent's cultivation base and built the second floor. If this kind of strength is indeed very strong in the ordinary world, it can be classified as a god-level powerhouse. But it's not enough for him. His 9-basement building is not built. Chi Feng can completely rely on his cultivation to kill this guy, he doesn't need Quirk at all. But today Chi Feng really wants to try to use Quirk to kill this guy who built the second floor. Sister Yuyao, step back, I'm going to do it. Senior Brother Chi didn't listen to Li Yuyao's words and was ready to do it. Just when Li Yuyao was going to continue to persuade, Chi Feng spoke, "You are a monk who builds the basement on the second floor, who can kill me with your confidence." Xiao Baichao was actually a little nervous, because he not only couldn't see Li Yuyao's cultivation base, but also the cultivation base of Senior Brother Chi. But he knew that this fellow named Senior Brother Chi was definitely better than that girl. Otherwise, how could he be a senior brother? Now Chi Feng tells the cultivation base of Senior Brother Chi and builds the second floor, which is stronger than when he didn't change the practice before. However, Chi Feng is not an ordinary person. With the double quirk and the 8th level of Chi training, he may already be the 9th level of Chi training. According to Chi Feng's previous words, he can easily kill on the 8th level of Chi training. If he died, he built the first floor, so even though Senior Brother Chi was building the second floor, he wasn't necessarily very strong. Can you see my cultivation level? Senior Brother Chi's face changed slightly, and his spiritual sense swept over Chi Feng's body. The next moment he was a little uneasy, because he could not see Chi Feng's cultivation level at all. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. In the eyes of the monk, as long as the cultivation base is not visible, there are only two possibilities. The first is that the opponent's strength is far greater than you, or it is superior to you, and the second is to have a hidden cultivation base. No one can snoop. The tone before this loose repair was so arrogant, so he might be the first kind, stronger than him. But it shouldn't, and it's impossible. How could a casual cultivator be stronger than him? He came from a hidden door, and was not comparable to some rubbish resources in the secular world. Unless this guy has a big secret in his body, he can be stronger than him. Thinking of this, Senior Brother Chi calmed down instead, lifted his right hand, and a cyan long sword fell in his hand. Don't try to speak, do you have any last words? Xiao Baichao stepped back a few steps, and he knew that Chi Feng was about to do it. That's right, Chi Feng didn't bother to talk nonsense with him. The Thor stick in his hand suddenly appeared, and when he rolled up a piece of thunder, he smashed it towards Senior Brother Chi. Lei Shu, you are Lei Shu. Senior Brother Chi's face changed drastically, and he hurriedly measured his body and flashed aside. Chi Feng's attack fell, and a 3-meter-long and several-meter-deep gully appeared on the ground instantly. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at Hot MTL novel for free. Seeing senior brother Chi fell on the ground without making a sound, and the blood flowed quickly along the skirt of his clothes, Li Yuyao knew that something really happened this time. It's just that she didn't expect that the other party turned out to be Lei Shu, who is unique in a million. The future of this kind of monk is very big, and the speed of cultivation is extremely fast, which can explain why he is a casual cultivator but is so powerful. No, he is not Lei Shu. Li Yuyao also escaped in a thrilling manner. If he was hit by this stick, even if he did not die, he would have to lose his skin. You are a waste of training resources if you live with rubbish. Go and die. Chi Feng's figure flashed, and he came directly to the back of senior brother Chi. The thunder and lightning elements in his right hand turned into a thunder fist and punched directly from the back of senior brother Chi. After wearing his body, brother Chi's heart burst instantly. After the shock, senior brother Chi also responded that Chi Feng is not Lei Shu, but the quirk of the ordinary world, but he also knows that even if it is the quirk of the ordinary world, there are no quirks with thunder elements. The cyan long sword in his hand splits a blue light, the speed is incredibly fast, but in Chi Feng's eyes, this is the case, but the inheritance of Chi senior brother is obviously much stronger than Xiao Baichao's, Chi Feng can feel it. But no matter what, senior brother Chi will kill this person, because Liangzi has already forged him. The thunder dragon swung out again, and a thunder dragon instantly rushed out of the thunder dragon, extinguishing brother Chi's cyan sword light. The next moment the thunder dragon rushed to senior brother Chi, and senior brother Chi frightened him out of a talisman directly inspiring it. Chi Feng has already seen that this senior brother Chi has no problem dealing with the general imperial level powerhouse, but if it encounters elemental quirks or superpower quirks, it will be a little tricky. A layer of golden light appeared, blocking Chi Feng's thunder dragon. Chi Feng shook his head and said, "You are rubbish in my eyes during the base building period. I can't even beat my quirk. I don't need to suppress you with the cultivation base." Although she didn't like this senior Chi in weekdays, she was in the same sect at any rate. This came out to investigate the problem of the direction of spiritual energy, and unexpectedly caused a senior in the foundation stage to die. This is definitely a major event in the sect. How can you be so strong? Are the superhumans in the world so strong? Senior brother Chi's expression changed drastically. The attack just now forced him to use the golden talisman. You must know that a golden talisman is very precious. Save your life once. You dare to kill me. Senior brother Chi just said a few words before spitting out a mouthful of blood and violently killed him. Li Yuyao suddenly remembered that, although Chi Feng just started to bring up a piece of thunder, there is no elemental force fluctuation, there is no elemental force fluctuation of the lightning attack, there is only one explanation. Not to mention the god-level powerhouses, the ordinary god-level powerhouse Chi brothers may not have been able to play. Chi Feng is the best of the god-level powerhouses, so he can crush senior brother Chi. It is the extraordinary person in the ordinary world. There may be this kind of attack method in the quirk they have. Although she has not been out in Washan for more than 20 years, she also knows some things that have happened outside, so she soon came to this aspect. 12 Women That Redefined Asian Beauty. Ad. Chapter 346. My name is Li Yuyao. Bitcoin Bank. A young millionaire explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. You shouldn't kill him. Li Yuyao knew that regret was useless. Once senior brother Chi died, even if the hidden sect wanted to isolate himself from the world, he had to avenge him, because the hidden sect could not be insulted. In the eyes of the hidden door, supernormal people such as Chi Feng or casual cultivators are very humble, and they appear very small in front of them. However, this kind of people who are small in their eyes, dare to kill their hidden people, and they are disciples in the foundation building period. This is a big thing. It is necessary to know that cultivating a disciple in the foundation building period at the hidden gate requires a lot of cultivation resources. In this age of the end of the law, when the spiritual energy is exhausted, the cultivation resources are equivalent to life. So the consequences can be imagined. I won't kill him, would you wait for that guy to kill me? Chi Feng looked at the woman speechlessly, saying as if he didn't kill brother Chi would let him go. Li Yuyao didn't speak. She knew that even if she said anything, it was a waste of effort. The person in front of her was very strong and it would be easy to kill her. Chi Feng didn't intend to kill this woman, but asked, "Now you can talk about your Washan hidden gate, right?" Li Yuyao knows that Chi Feng is already her sect's dead enemy, so even if she talks to Chi Feng about the hidden door, it doesn't matter. She is very talented and doesn't want to die, so she simply said, "My Washan hidden door is called Lin Yizong. Washan has a history of thousands of years, what else do you want to know?" Chi Feng asked directly, "What is the strongest cultivation base in your sect?" Li Yuyao did not conceal Chi Feng, and said, "The Lord is the 7th level of the Golden Core, and the person with the strongest cultivation level at present. There is also Chi Feng, the 4th level of the Golden Core, and the rest of the brothers and uncles are in the early stage of the Golden Core and the foundation building stage. The rest is the refining period." Chi Feng took a deep breath. There is actually a Golden Core period in this world. In fact, It is very rare to be able to build a foundation, not to mention the golden core period. According to Chi Feng's current cultivation base, there is no chance to win the golden core stage. Even if he builds the foundation, he can't beat it, let alone the golden core later stage. However, if Chi Feng raises the double quirk to LV10 and then enters the base building period, he is sure to fight the Jindan period. Seeing Chi Feng's surprised expression, Li Yuyao felt that it was normal. Whether in the eyes of ordinary people or superordinary people, those who are strong in Jindan stage are like gods. Hidden gates are not only sects hidden in the world. They exist for the purpose of safeguarding mankind in a certain way, but the main purpose is to find the way from the earth to the other world. This has never been interrupted for thousands of years. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. However, there are no clues and results, just like a headless case, causing the hidden gate to live in seclusion without asking the world. But not asking about the world doesn't mean that ordinary people and superhumans can bully him and kill the hidden disciples. Then this matter is serious. Do you have any spirit stones on your body? Chi Feng suddenly asked. No, the extremely scarce resource of Lingxi is only available to the sect master and Master Fang. Although I am a core disciple, I don't have such a thing either. Li Yuyao told the truth. In that case, you can leave after leaving your name. Chi Feng didn't plan to keep Li Yuyao because it didn't make much sense. You let me go, Li Yuyao asked in disbelief. According to the normal way of thinking, the other party had to take him away even if they didn't kill him, otherwise Chi Feng would be finished when she returned to the sect. Why? I let you go and you don't want to go anymore. Chi Feng was amused. Is this woman scared? My name is Li Yuyao, goodbye. After Li Yuyao confirmed that Chi Feng was really letting him go, he directly reported his name, and then flew away without looking back. As for senior brother Chi who died on the ground, she couldn't control it, all of which had to wait for the head to decide. After Li Yuyao left, Chi Feng came to the dead brother Chi, raised his hand and took a small linen bag from his waist. However, Chi Feng really turned out something during this turn. A black spar was lying quietly in the partition in the basement of Taoist temple. This small linen bag looks unremarkable, but in fact it is a storage bag. The space inside is larger than that of a nano storage box, and it is easy to carry. It only needs to be hung on the waist or in the arms. I know, so let's pack things and leave now. Chi Feng rushed into the Taoist temple like lightning, and began to pack things, taking away everything that could be taken away. Basically the entire Taoist temple was turned upside down by Chi Feng. Chi Feng is afraid of missing something. Xiao Baichao protected his body. He could not perceive the changes in the surrounding environment at all, because the speed was too fast. The black spar has 6 corners and is extremely dark. Although it is in the partition, there is still a dark box wrapped in it. From the box, Chi Feng feels a little strange. Chi Feng didn't care about that much, put it directly into the storage bag, and then walked out. I don't know why, there seems to be no problem with the box, but Chi Feng has a strange feeling in his heart. Okay, let's go now. Chi Feng rolled up Xiao Baichao and turned into a thunder rainbow and disappeared in Washan. Xiao Baichao saw that Chi Feng was hanging around his waist with a storage bag, but he did not ask about these things, but said anxiously, what do you do now? If you kill the hidden door will definitely not let it go. Our Taoism, even your master's Taoism, may no longer exist. The sense of crisis is very strong. Chi Feng has never felt such a strong sense of crisis. Chi Feng is sure that even if he is the first one in the dual god realm, it will not give him such a feeling. Chi Feng closed his eyes and held it in his hand. After a few seconds, he suddenly opened his eyes, and then began to refine the small linen bag in his hand. Chi Feng feels that a powerful crisis is approaching. He increased his speed to the fastest without even thinking about it. Although Jin Danchi is very strong, it is definitely not as fast as his speed, because supernormal people are also extremely heaven-defying. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Are you all packed up? Xiao Baichao thinks that Chi Feng's speed is quite fast, but he knows that the faster the speed, the better. After all, the hidden gate is in Washan. If you want to come over, you might take a few breaths. The time has come. Just a minute after Chi Feng left, a woman in a white robe fell on where Chi Feng stood before. There is a moon pattern behind her clothes, which is vivid. After feeling it carefully, she said coldly, 2 ants have escaped. Hua Nianyan's spiritual consciousness swept into the Taoist temple immediately, and when he found nothing, he slapped the Taoist temple into ruins with a palm, and then disappeared. Because of the death of senior brother Chi Feng refined this storage bag very quickly and hung it on his waist in a few minutes. Chi Feng's speed is faster than that of a fighter. At this speed, his physical strength is plummeting, but there is no way. If you don't increase the speed to the fastest, he will probably die. 14 food items that'll definitely make you smell better. Add. Chapter 347 Let's fight against the peerless strong together. Bitcoin Bank. A young millionaire explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. Chi Feng has been using this speed for an hour, the sense of crisis has not dissipated, and it is still an imminent feeling. At this time, there was already a blue ocean around him. Chi Feng flew fast over the sea without any scruples. This direction is on the way to the United States. 4 hours later, Chi Feng has already reached the territory of the United States, but the sense of crisis has not yet dissipated. Chi Feng knew that it was the sect master of the Washan hidden sect Lin Yizong who was chasing him. The cultivation base of the late Jindan, Chi Feng didn't even dare to fight her, even if it could be elementalized, it would be useless. Ways to deal with elementalization. Suddenly Chi Feng thought of a good idea. He knew where the Super League was. If the old monster of the Golden Core period was attracted, he should be able to take advantage of the opportunity to destroy the Super League. Even if it could not be destroyed, the Super League would have to retreat. Layer of skin. Do as he thinks, Chi Feng immediately flew towards the Super League. Hua Nianyan, who was chasing Chi Feng behind, was a little irritable. With her peerless cultivation, she couldn't even catch up with a foundation building ant. She would be ashamed to say that she would be ashamed. Perhaps no one could believe it. Every time the opponent slowed down, she thought she would be able to catch up, but after a while, the guy's speed increased again, seeming to have a steady stream of physical strength. Even in the later stage of her Golden Core cultivation base, she still needs time to replenish her physical strength to maintain her speed. Then, does the other party have a way to supplement her physical strength? No matter what, these two ants must be killed. Chi Feng is junior brother Fang's nephew, and can't just die on Mount Hua for no reason. That's her territory. If this matter is not handled properly, it may affect it. The relationship between her and junior brother Fang. Hidden Gate originally did not advocate fanfare, so if you can keep a low profile, try to keep a low profile. That is, she is now chasing the two ants in a stealth state, even if the secular world's technological level is high, her presence cannot be detected. Chi Feng has discovered the old nest of the Super League. In a very empty area, a huge oval building stands above this empty area, somewhat similar to the bird's nest in China. There are parking airports around this huge building, as well as various parking areas. The luxury cars here are basically no less than 1 million, and there are a lot of people walking around the building, which looks very busy. Chi Feng didn't have time to think about it. He dived straight down from the air, and then condensed the Thor stick with his left hand, which was a stick that smashed into the building from the air. Boom. To Chi Feng's surprise, his stick that used 40% of his power failed to punch a hole in the Super League building. Only a protective film appeared on the surface, blocking Chi Feng's power. Alarm. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. The alarm sounded inside the Super League. At this moment, all people wearing the title of superheroes became alert, and the pinhole camera immediately discovered the existence of Chi Feng. The surveillance pictures spread throughout the entire Super League. At this moment, as long as you look up, you can see Chi Feng and Xiao Baichao on the screens on the large and small TVs inside the Super League. This is the legend of the night. Venom was eating raw lamb legs in his room, and when he looked up, he saw Chi Feng and Xiao Baichao standing on the protective layer of their base camp. Captain America was having a meeting with the Black Widow Spider-Man, and Chi Feng's figure appeared directly on the screen, and they were also taken aback. I'm afraid this Night Tale is impatient, right? The first time I saw a villain dare to come directly to the Super League headquarters. Spider-Man stood up in shock. The Black Widow and the Captain of the United States were also quite surprised. This Dark Knight legend is terrible. At the same time, a tall man covered in purple walked out of a secret room. As soon as he came out, he saw Doctor Strange and Hawkeye, and then asked directly, "What's the matter for letting me out this time?" There is a villain who is suspected of being a god-level powerhouse now on the shield of the Super League and needs you to kill it. Doctor Strange said eagerly. Although there are many Super League powerhouses, if Dark Knight Legends let go of their power, they will definitely lose a lot. Just like before, they wanted to annihilate Dark Knight Legends in Deba, but he was almost killed by his suspected big move. If the opponent is today, no one can stop a few more such big moves. That's why an old guy like Thanos needs to take action. This guy is already a powerhouse in the god-level domain and one of the cards of the Super League. I will be released when I am using it, and I will be shut back when I don't need it. Do you think I'm joking with Thanos? Thanos' tone became cold, and he somewhat hated the Super League. Brother, don't get excited, how about we finish processing today's affairs and then report to the higher level? Hulk Hawkeye said with a grin. Little green baby, don't talk nonsense, believe it or not, I will blow you up. Thanos stared. Okay, when I didn't say it. Hawkeye shut up immediately and took a few steps back. Just when Doctor Strange didn't know what to do, Venom and Iron Man walked over with a woman who was wearing a black vest and her hair was silver. Seeing the woman, Thanos calmed down a bit. I hope I won't lock me up again after this incident. Storm Girl smiled and said, "No problem, I will report it to my superiors. You only need to do your current job, and let the little devil who doesn't know the height of the world suffer a bit. Then naturally there is no problem." Thanos showed a hint of war intent in his eyes. At this time, Chi Feng had seen a white shadow not far away rushing towards this side quickly. Chi Feng had no time to think. He took out a rust-stained iron sword and smashed it against the protective cover under his feet with all his strength. Only after this blow did Chi Feng break the protective cover. Chi Feng took Chow Bai Chow and smashed the metal plate in front of him with a palm, and stepped into the Super League. Boom. At the next moment, an earth-shattering explosion appeared, and Thanos and the others changed their faces. A huge handprint on the top directly smashed the protective film and was blasted into slag together with the metal roof. Although the scope is not very large, but it is already very shocking. Even if Thanos takes a full blow, he can only make a hole in the protective cover. Chi Feng was shocked by the aftermath of the handprint, and he immediately spit out a mouthful of blood and fell on the ground. Fortunately, he reacted quickly, otherwise he might really be killed by the palm. It can only be said that the strong man in the Jin Dan stage is too strong, he is far from an opponent. Your Super League is over, now join me against the peerless powerhouse. I heard halfway through that the crazy woman is going to destroy your Super League, so I came to inform that I want to take this opportunity to turn a fight with you into jade. Chi Feng, after saying all in one breath, he quickly walked to the front of Thanos. At this moment, the people of the Super League have begun to gather here. The American captain raised his hand to stop Chi Feng, but Chi Feng has now reached 2 meters in front of Thanos, which can be said to be very close. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Exploring the truth behind celebrities' radiant smiles. Ad. You have coronavirus. Now what happens? Ad. Chapter 348 The Power of Wan Nianyan. Bitcoin Bank. A young millionaire explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. Knight legend Chi Feng, don't you know that you have enemies with our Super League? How do you plan to solve the death of the Sentinel? The captain of the United States said with a calm face. If Magneto hadn't brought him back, he might have died in the desert. The order given to the Underworld Super League is to kill, regardless of time or location. It can be said to be a deadly vengeance. But under such circumstances, the Dark Knight Tales actually dare to come to them, isn't it looking for death? We'll talk about the Sentinel in a moment. Let's work together to fight against the peerless powerhouse. That guy is murderous, and you don't even see your Super League in the eyes. Chi Feng took 2 steps forward. Wan Nianyan now it has fallen into the Super League and is looking at Chi Feng coldly. Wan Nianyan is a Super League member who sees it all. If that big handprint is printed, even Thanos will be hit hard by this blow, so the Super League people think that what Chi Feng said is half true and half false. The ants are still looking for help. Wan Nianyan glanced around the Super Alliance people, disdainfully said, although the superhumans are stronger than before, they are still ants. This will never change. Quote. You broke my Super League defensive shield and the titanium wall, and now you are talking in my Super League again. What do you mean? Thanos took a step forward and said proudly. Although the strange woman in front of her is very strong, but who has never played before knows that she is not an opponent, lousy as Thanos. A group of ants, dare to be arrogant in front of me. Wan Nianyan's momentum suddenly climbed, raising his hand to shoot at Thanos and the others, and a big hand formed by Yuan Li quickly pressed down. Chi Feng hid away when Wan Nianyan took the shot. He knew the strength of this old lady very well. He was not an opponent at all. Thanos has no way to go back at this moment, and can only stretch out his right hand. A pair of golden gloves appear instantly, 5 gems of different colors on the gloves are shining, and then a barrier is swung forward to block the yuan of Wan Nianyan. Force Mudra. Doctor Strange also stretched his hands forward, and his power was added to Thanos' shield, but he was very strange, why Thanos did not take the initiative to attack, but to defend. The rest of the people with superpowers also took action one after another, blessing their strength on Thanos' defense. The captain of the United States, who is known for his strength, naturally can't cope with this situation. At this moment, he wants to retreat. But the next moment his face changed, and his body was unable to move. The big handprints on the face seemed to seal his actions. Not only the US captain felt it, but the rest of the people felt it. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. However, it felt that it was too late now. Wan Nianyan's big handprints were slapped directly on the shield formed by Thanos. In just a moment, the shield blessed by multiple people cracked. On Thanos' golden gloves, 3 gems burst directly, becoming slags. How is it possible? Thanos opened his mouth to spit out a mouthful of blood. The opponent's palm actually exploded 3 of his gems. You must know that even if he fights against a god-level powerhouse that is stronger than him, the gems will not burst open, because this gem is not a normal material. At this moment, the captain of the United States and the others all understood that the guys here are really peerless powerhouses, and they were drawn by the legend of the knight, which means it is very obvious, take them to the back of the pot. It was a pity that it was too late to understand. At this moment, Wan Nianyan's Yuanli handprint crushed all the gems on Thanos' gloves. When it fell, Thanos tried to use his arm to block it, but was directly crushed to death. The pressure was blocked by Thanos, and the others escaped with difficulty, but there are a few others that should not be crushed directly, such as Spider-Man and Hao Kai. These 2 guys died with Thanos under the palm of Wan Nianyan. Legend of the Night. The captain of the United States is cracking his teeth. He is extremely angry now. Chi Feng is really a disaster star. I thought that Chi Feng was self-inflicted, but he actually brought a peerless strong man. He has never been a strong man. I haven't seen it before, and killed the three powerhouses of the Super League with a single palm. One of them is still a god-level powerhouse, which is a loss that the Super League cannot afford. Stop, Stormgirl shouted immediately. Senior, there seems to be some misunderstanding between us. We are not the helpers of Underworld Legend. His business has nothing to do with us. Nothing. Wan Nenyan sneered. This world is not yet your turn to be the master, so I will teach you a lesson today. After saying these words, Wan Nianyan condensed a vitality mudra and caught the Storm Girl. When the Storm Girl saw this, her eyes began to turn white. At this time, dark clouds appeared in the sky, followed by the thunder and lightning. Although she could not directly release the thunder and lightning, she was able to manipulate the thunder and lightning in the sky. This ability was similar to that of the Thor and Horda. Chi Feng's air-operated hybrid version. The thunder and lightning fell on Wan Nianyan's Yuanli handprints as if it were tickling. Wan Nianyan grabbed the Storm Girl without any hindrance. The Storm Girl's heart was cold, and she cried, "Please, don't kill. I beg you." This kind of opponent is simply not something that their Super League can provoke, and even if the strongest person in the Super League is dispatched, they may not have been able to fight. It's useless to please me, go to death. Wan Nianyan used force, and Storm Girl was pinched to death, she couldn't even feel the pain. Hurry up and inform Captain Marvel, Master Ji Yi, and Domum. Captain America yelled frantically. The rest of the Super League immediately followed suit. Now it can be said that it is the Judgment Day of the Super League. From ancient times to the present, it has never been said that they have encountered such a powerful opponent. Basically, you only need the sentry to take the action when you go out to perform the task, because the sentry is already it's very strong. Today, no matter who you let come is the same result. Wan Nianyan looked at Chi Feng standing in the corner after killing the Storm Girl, and said in a harsh tone, "You killed my Zhongjuji disciple, and today you are with me. Go back and accept the verdict, I might give you a happy one." Chi Feng has a headache. The Super League is so weak, and someone with Thanos' ability is directly slapped to death. That's a fart. Lousy still doesn't want to die, don't I go back with you to find death? Chi Feng backed up a few steps, as long as Wan Nianyan moved his body, he immediately ran away. You kill my disciple, even if I don't kill you, my junior will kill you. No need to say more here, you must go back with me. Wan Nianyan tried to suppress his anger, the ant in front of him didn't know what's going on. The speed is very fast, even if she chases with all her strength, she can only maintain a constant speed, but she cannot catch up. So once Chi Feng escapes, she will have to chase for a long time, and this is no way to continue. Xiao Baichao had a tingling scalp while standing on the side. He was involved in this kind of incident somehow. The root cause is that Chi Feng shouldn't kill that senior Chi, who knows that the background is so big. But the people have been killed, they can only think about how to escape now. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Top 10 sexiest Indian girls. Who's your favorite? Ad. Exploring the truth behind celebrities' radiant smiles. Ad. Chapter 349. Captain Marvel. Bitcoin Bank. A young millionaire explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. Chi Feng was thinking about how to escape, and the three figures had already fallen in front of Wan Nianyan. One was wearing a yellow hood, another was wearing a captain's costume, and the other was wrapped in a black robe. There was an inexplicable sense of horror on the body. Chi Feng immediately felt the breath of the top power from these three guys. This aura is not a royal level powerhouse, but a top level god level powerhouse, that is, a powerhouse in the first divine realm. Here are three more beaming clowns. Wan Nianyan swept across the three of them, and felt a lot of energy. Both she and Chi Feng are monks, and they can feel the strength of each other with their divine consciousness. These three people are indeed very strong, but they are still rubbish for her only in front of superhumans. Ji Yi, Domum, the three of us haven't been out together for a long time. Captain Marvel said at this time, her chest rising and falling as she spoke. Captain Marvel, it doesn't seem to be the time to talk. This woman killed Thanos with a single palm. Are you so leisurely, thinking you can do it well? Domum sneered. At this moment, the personnel within the Super League have begun to evacuate quickly, and even the Imperial-level powerhouses have begun to retreat. This kind of battlefield is no longer a battlefield they can participate in. Chi Feng actually wanted to walk along in the Super League, but he didn't dare to move now. As long as he moved Wan Nianyan, he would catch up, and he would still get nothing. Chi Feng feels that there must be many good things in the Super League, that is, there may be more than 100 tubes of E-type reagents. In that case, I will let the two of you see my current strength. Captain Marvel took a few steps forward, meaning that she wanted to deal with Wan Nianyan alone. Captain Marvel, don't try your best. Although Thanos is not your opponent, it is not easy for you to kill Thanos, and the person in front of you can kill Thanos in seconds. Ji Yuyi said flatly, as if doesn't care about Wan Nianyan's powerful oppressive force. The two go back, this is about to become a battlefield. Captain Marvel didn't mean to back down, making Ji Yuyi Mage and Domum back off. Master Ji Yuyi and Domum did not continue to persuade them, and retreated to a position similar to Chi Feng. Chi Feng didn't care about the two men watching the battle from close range. Although these two guys are strong in the first divine realm, it is impossible to kill him. The 9-layer foundation plus double quirk LV9 is equivalent to that. Sanju, this kind of strength Chi Feng is not afraid of these two people. Obviously, Master Ji Yuyi and Domum did not take Chi Feng and Xiao Baichao to their hearts, they just watched the battle. The anger on Wan Nianyan's face suddenly disappeared. She was laughing angrily. It would be fine if the three of them went on together. They even tried to go on one by one. I really thought she was showing kindness. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. After today, your place can become a ruin. Although my sect's rules are low-key, but if it provokes me, it can only be said that you are out of luck. Wan Nianyan slapped her hand directly after saying this. Captain Marvel patted it. She just used this palm to slap Thanos to death. In her heart, these people are all the same, and it is enough to rely on this palm. Captain Marvel did not retreat but moved forward, with rays of light exuding from his body. At this time, Wan Nianyan's palm had already fallen, and he patted Captain Marvel firmly. Puff! Captain Marvel spat out blood, and the whole person flew out 2 meters away before steadying his body. Wan Nianyan was surprised. This guy was able to take a palm of his own without dying. You must know that the purple fat man was directly slapped to death by her slap. By the way, there is a fat green man. Really strong. Captain Marvel spit out a mouthful of blood, raised his hand and took a medicine from his pocket, which was better. Ji Yuyi Mage and Domum looked at each other, but did not speak. Yes, you can block my palm. You must be the best among the superhumans. Wan Nianyan simply admired him, and then his face became cold. But if you think I'm so foolish, it's wrong. Stop talking nonsense, it's my turn. Captain Marvel took a breath, and his figure suddenly disappeared. Wan Nianyan's spiritual thoughts were swept out immediately, and then she was shocked to find that there was only one shadow moving in her spiritual thoughts, that is to say, she could not catch the other party with her spiritual thoughts, only one shadow could be seen. Fast speed. This woman named Captain Marvel is faster than the ant who just ran away. Who are you? Captain Marvel was also very scared at the moment, and was injured twice by Wan Nianyan just now, his breath is a bit unstable now. Even her younger brother couldn't hurt him, and as a result, an ant actually injured her waist. Captain Marvel's expression suddenly changed. She attacked so quickly just now, and absorbed the strength Wan Nianyan hit on her before and returned the blow. In the end, she only slightly injured the opponent. Ha 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 ha. Wan Nianyan suddenly laughed. She, a strong man in the late Jindan stage, was beaten and bleed by an extraordinary person. This is really a big joke. In Chi Feng's mind, only one shadow can be seen moving. It can only be said that Captain Marvel's speed is too fast. As for the period of the Super League, Wan Nianyan didn't bother to take care of it. This kind of place is irrelevant. The most important thing is to catch Chi Feng. Wan Nianyan was about to find the right time to take action, but suddenly found that the shadow was approaching, and then she felt a sharp pain in her waist. She didn't even think that her body shook, and a burst of vitality burst out of her body. Captain Marvel vomited blood again, and the light on his body began to diminish. Ji Yuyi Mage and Domum can't see Captain Marvel either, because no one can beat Captain Marvel faster. At this time, Master Ji Yuyi turned and reached out to Chi Feng to grab it. A golden chain of chains instantly entangled Chi Feng's hands and feet, and even Xiao Baichao was also controlled. Chi Feng didn't wait for Domum to take action, and directly relied on Thor's return to break these restraint chains, and then rolled up Xiao Baichao directly into a thunder rainbow and rushed out of the hole. Wan Nianyan touched her waist and was injured. She put her hand in front of her eyes with bloodline. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. The speed of those wind blades was so fast that Captain Marvel fled without thinking about it, and flew directly out of the hole in the Super League. Wan Nianyan followed almost the moment Chi Feng rushed out. Although she was injured, there was no problem with this minor injury. After swallowing a healing pill, Wan Nianyan started chasing at full speed. Die to me. Wan Nianyan didn't bother to answer Captain Marvel's question, turned around and swung dozens of wind blades directly. The dozens of wind blades directly cut all the objects that were smashed, and then cut the gates of the Super League in half without any hindrance. Xiao Baichao is going crazy. He and Chi Feng have been on the run, and they are likely to be killed. He already knows the strength of Wan Nianyan very well, and even Captain Marvel is not an opponent. The hidden messages in Whale's family photos. Ad. Chapter 350. Escape into the universe. Bitcoin Bank. A young millionaire explains how she makes 28,000 Hong Kong dollars a day. A former banker explains how she became rich. Learn more. Chi Feng flees all the way, and Wan Nianyan behind is chasing him all the way. Originally, Chi Feng wanted to use the Super League to give him the back of the pot, but later thought that if he didn't run, he might not be able to run away. Because Ji Yu Yi Mage and Domum have already begun to take action against him, it is obvious that the Super League does not want to take this risk to fight Wan Nianyan. The reason why the Super League shot is for dignity, or to avenge some top powerhouses such as Thanos. Now that they know the power of Wan Nianyan, who of them dare to do it again? Of course it is to capture themselves before talking. Chi Feng knew that he couldn't continue to escape like this. The ghost knew how strong this Linyu sect master's stamina was. If he chased him for a month, would he have to run like this all this month? And after Chi Feng quirk supplements are used up, there is only one dead end. Don't chase. If you chase me again, you'll take off your clothes. Chi Feng yelled at the rear. I lived more than 400 years old, and I haven't seen anything, just take it off. Wan Nianyan sneered, not caring. Chi Feng gritted his teeth and shouted, you forced me. If you have the kind, take it off. Ben Zong doesn't care about your little tricks. Wan Nianyan speeds up and catches up. As long as Chi Feng dares to take off, the speed will definitely slow down. That's when she catches this kid. Chi Feng suddenly turned around and flew directly into the sky. Wan Nianyan froze for a while, but did not hesitate to catch up. Does this kid want to die? Chi Feng knew that running like this would never work. He had to get out of the atmosphere to be saved. He didn't believe that Jin Dan could enter the universe. As the distance increases, the air temperature begins to drop and the oxygen becomes thinner, but the speed of Wan Nianyan and Chi Feng is still very fast. At this time, Chi Feng and Xiao Baichao are in a state of invisibility, as is Wan Nianyan. His head was blurred when he was in the Super League, and she couldn't see her true face because she didn't want to be investigated by the secular world. Moreover, all the cameras inside the Super League, as long as they had video recording functions, were destroyed by her. Boy, don't run, you will die if you continue like this. Wan Nianyan started to breathe a little hard at this moment. Although there is a shield of vitality, it can't stop the rules of nature. Over 3,000 meters above sea level. 5 kilometers. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. 10,000 meters. Chi Feng's speed is still very fast, but Wan Nianyan's speed started to slow down. Not only did the temperature become abnormally low when she got here, but it was also difficult for her to breathe. The injury on the waist must be protected by Yuanli at any time, otherwise the blood will burst out directly at such a high altitude. Then it condenses. Why, it's not working. Chi Feng laughed at Wan Nianyan below. It seems that Jin Danchi is just like this, unable to surpass the rules of nature. Xiao Beichao was protected by Chi Feng's air control. It was also very relaxed at this moment. He was relieved to see Wan Nianyan's speed slowed down. Wan Nianyan suddenly frowned, and said with a sneer, do you really think I'm just that capable? Suddenly, Chi Feng had a bad feeling. At this moment, Wan Nianyan raised his hand and took out a black long sword. With his left hand stretched out, a talisman appeared, and then quickly excited. A layer of golden light instantly covered Wan Nianyan, and then she took out a talisman again, which inspired it again. In the next moment, she was holding a jet black long sword and chased Chi Feng instantly like a dragon who had escaped from sleep. Chi Feng was so frightened that he speeded up and fled. He deserves to be the sect master of the hidden gate, with many methods. Chi Feng quickly rushed out of the atmosphere at this speed, seeing the universe getting closer and closer to him. Wan Nianyan behind him was still chasing after him. Chi Feng protected himself and Xiao Beichao, and then entered the cosmic space. The surroundings became unusually quiet and a little dark. Even if the earth is blue, there is some light at this moment, which is the credit of the sun and the moon, but the universe is really dry. Wan Nianyan stopped. She didn't dare to enter the Chi space. The golden light charm would protect her to this level at most. If it went deeper, it would be a dead end, and the monks would not be able to enter the Chi space unless they cultivated to a higher realm. Seeing that Wan Nianyan could no longer chase him out, Chi Feng could only say from a distance, your sects are all disrespectful to me first, and you threatened to kill me, so I killed him, so don't chase him. Sound is difficult to propagate in the universe, but it is not impossible to propagate, so Chi Feng's voice must be loud and penetrating. Wan Nianyan is very angry. She is mad at why she doesn't have a quirk. If she is also a superhuman and possesses a quirk similar to Chi Feng, this ant will definitely die today. But now it's impossible. As long as the other party has been in the airspace, she can't do anything about it. No matter what you say, as long as you kill my sect, you must pay the price of your life. If you hide in the gang gas space for one day, I will squat on you for one day. I will see who can't hold on. Wan Nianyan only needs to guard Chi Feng. Even if Chi Feng flees in other directions, she can follow Chi Feng's direction and change her trajectory, so that Chi Feng still cannot get rid of her. Yulin Yuzong is really overbearing. You only allow people from your sect to kill me, but you can't let me kill people from your sect? Chi Feng looked at Wan Nianyan coldly and said. Wan Nianyan frowned and asked, Chi Shang will not kill people indiscriminately like this. How can he be a hidden person kill people in the world? Chi Feng sneered. Do you know if he will kill people? Do you think your hidden door is noble? You don't know what kind of shit people are in your sect. People like him deserve to die if they die. Trash. Shut up. Wan Nianyan shouted. Although she felt that there might be some problems in the process, no matter how they were together, they belonged to her moon sect. Now that she is dead, she must have an explanation. In ancient times, emperors had this saying that when an official died, a city of people would be buried with them. This is power, and people who are weak have no right to speak at all. In Hua Nianyan's eyes, Chi Feng is a weak person. Except for the first-rate effort to escape, the rest is exactly the same as the ant. Why? I can't tell the truth anymore. Chi Feng laughed, and suddenly raised his hand and took out a table and put it in a vacuum. Then he took out 2 chairs and asked Xiao Baichao to sit down before talking. Put some pressure density under the table and chair to make Chi Feng and Xiao Baichao sit on the ground. At this moment, Chi Feng and Xiao Baichao are not invisible, but they have blurred their faces with force. There is a satellite not far from Chi Feng and Xiao Baichao. At this time, the unmanned satellite has already sat Chi Feng and Xiao Baichao in the universe. The picture on the chair was sent back to the Earth. It just so happens that this satellite belongs to the Republic, which is a satellite sponsored by the whole world, and the picture can be sent back to all parts of the world. Read more at hotmtlnovel.zi. Chinese MTL fan fiction, second element novel can be read at hotmtl novel for free. Exploring the truth behind celebrities' radiant smiles. Ad.